That is so wild as they continue to try to hit that home run higher and get to the top part to match their spending in the SEC. All right, we got 50 seconds, Luke and Bill. Your one big takeaway from the weekend. One thing we didn't touch on. You pick anything Rivalry weekend. We didn't touch about a ton. Was there one thing out there that we didn't hit today? NC State, man, surprises me. They got 9 wins.
I was actually just going to bring up NC State. When you look at the job Dave Doran did, I mean, you bring in Brennan Armstrong, you think all this marriage of him and Robert Anae as the offensive coordinator, and it's going to look like 2020 and 2021 at Virginia, and he ends up getting benched. Then you have the freshman quarterback comes in. He decides to say, well, I'm going to redshirt. Okay, so now you go back to Brennan Armstrong. You lean on the defense. Brennan Armstrong starts playing good, and now they're going to be in line to potentially get 10 wins. I mean, what an unbelievable coaching job. And very interesting with North Carolina, man. It's 2 years in a row that they have tanked on the back half of the season.
Yeah, big losing streak for Mac there. Luke and Bill, we'll see you after the championship games and the playoffs are released next Monday right here on Monday Morning Live, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. The next round is coming up live at 9 a.m. Central Time with all your reaction from the locker room and a lot more with you guys on the Iron Bowl win by Alabama, 27-24 over Auburn. Good day, everybody.
Want more of The Next Round? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our not-for-all-ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
What would happen if Santa came down your chimney and discovered fire damage in your home? What if he came down the chimney and discovered a wet floor? Santa's elves can't clean it up. You would have a lot of unhappy children Christmas morning. If that happens, contact DryTech Water Restoration immediately and make sure your children have a Merry Christmas. DryTech can clean up the mess and get in touch with your insurance company. Call DryTech 205-637-0143 and make sure your holidays are safe and happy. Happy holidays to all from DryTech Water Restoration.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com. Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
The Next Round golf cart is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Card for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in Cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, live show now after Rivalry weekend, and we get ready for the championship games coming up. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Rockstar, Tyler, Lunsford, Forrester, Taylor Korn handling everything on our social media platform. Remember, thumbs up, like us, subscribe at all the platforms. Not only this YouTube channel, but also Disrupt the Media, where you get a lot of extra bonus programming throughout the week. Man, what a game. What an atmosphere. What an outcome if you're an Alabama fan. What a heartbreaker if you're an Auburn fan. But just my reaction, and as I've had a couple of hours now to think about it, I still do not understand what Auburn was doing defensively.
Oh,
it makes it every time I watch it, I'm like, why are you rushing 2 people? It makes no sense to give him what was clocked at 6.3 seconds to plant, set, and throw a football.
well, if you are going to give him 6 seconds and you are only sending 2, how in the hell do you get one-on-one coverage in the corner of the end zone?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what is amazing. And just watching that play open up, when he let it go, I was like, oh, my God, they just won this game.
Did you
Like,
really? So ball in the air? Yeah.
Yeah, ball in the air when I saw that Isaiah Bond had a one-on-one situation. Look, everybody talks about the throw, and the throw was great. The catch was incredible, too.
Right.
Because that was a missile.
And
Yeah,
so
I-
was the separation.
Yeah,
a little push to get a little separation.
Yeah.
It's legal. You know, when
Well,
you got
there
hand-
was hand fighting going on
Right,
the whole
yeah.
time. I know people, if you're an Auburn fan, you want to call it a push off. It was not a push off.
Yeah.
Nick Saban said there was a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill. I think that's a great way of describing that
is,
play.
yeah.
I think the luck you drew is that Auburn gave you a very beneficial defense for that play. That's luck. You can't control any of that, right? The skill is, and I will credit Tommy Rees and Nick Saban and whoever makes this call, not running, hey, everybody just run group up, we're just going to throw a Hail Mary. Or, let's just, somebody try. You ran a play that you have practiced. I mean, this was a practiced play. This is not something they drew up in the dirt. This was not some everybody bunch up and let's hope we get lucky.
Yeah, try to catch a tip.
This was a practiced, skilled play. I mean, I can't say enough about Alabama's coaches. They, maybe Auburn had the edge on the coaching all day with the scheme or whatever. Alabama outcoached Auburn on the key play of the game, and it's the reason Alabama still has a shot at a national championship.
Man,
Crazy play.
It looked like Alabama was doing it perfectly after they picked up that 4th down. It's 1st and goal to goal at the 7.
And you're
right?
forcing Auburn to use timeouts.
Yeah, and
Yep.
now Hugh's burning through timeouts.
Yep.
The clock's ticking. You can almost see it inside of a minute. They're going to punch it over for the go-ahead touchdown. So it's 1st and 7. And then all of a sudden, 3 consecutive plays from a 1st and 7 goal to go, you end up losing yardage on every
disaster.
play. Yeah. I mean, the wheels were falling off.
Yeah, and at that 1st and 7, I thought, hell, just run the ball. Like, you probably get in, clock's done, game's over. And then the 2nd down play, when you lose 18, that was a complete disaster. And then the very next play, what was Jalen thinking, crossing the line by, 2 or 3 yards?
It's only the second time he had done it that day, Lance. Back off.
Such a weird game. And then 4th down. I mean, that's almost – when you do percentages, like the kick six, we've never seen it before. It's still the wildest finish I've ever seen. But the percentage of somebody running a kick back when you don't have a proper kick coverage on the field is probably easier than what you got there on 4th and 31.
Yeah, I'd almost rather have to do that than complete a 4th and 31. Yeah, I'm with Lance. I mean, neither one of them are great odds.
All you have to do is turn around if you're the defensive back.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. You got to have a little vision.
And arguably, to me, he's their best defensive back. And it just, having to cover somebody, it doesn't sound like a long time. But for 6.3 seconds, having to, now, to me, I don't, man-to-man is questionable, but you can't double-team everybody. And hats off to Jalen Milroe, because if you look at the different breakdowns after the game, and they show it from the sky cam. So you're behind Jalen, and they circle, and it's like, okay, Auburn's got, it's a single coverage out here on the edge. It's double on this guy, double on this guy, double on this guy, and single on this edge. So they're double on the 3 guys in the middle and single on the 2 on the edges. And Jalen's able to pick that and say, okay, I'm going to take my shot, single coverage, back left corner.
But remarkably, if you go back and look, he's got a couple touchdown passes there. Even with the defense Auburn ran, I think Milroe had a couple TD passes out there, which is insane to think about.
Right before he lets it go, he's already looking away, but Jermaine Burton cuts away from his double team.
Waving like a madman.
Right across about a yard deep in the end zone when everyone else is in the back of the end zone. And I thought that was when he did that and did his arms like that, I was like, oh, that's where you got to throw it. And then I see the ball selling from where I was on the sidelines. I was like, oh, Burton was wide open.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the crowd, the Alabama fans go crazy.
But when the ball's going to be in the air 35 yards, you've got to have visual contact on that. And I know it's difficult when you're talking about, a guy is able to sit back in the pocket for 6 seconds before he actually releases the football. But DJ James was the guy that was on Isaiah Bond, right?
Yeah.
You got to locate that ball because if he turns around at any point, he's going to have an opportunity to bat the ball down.
You mentioned the defense and rushing 2. I'm never like that, even on Hail Marys.
It's dumb as hell.
But the dumber part to me was having the spy out there. You took Eugene Asante and he did nothing. Why are you spying Jalen Milroe?
He ain't running 35 yards.
You would love him to, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly. At that point, you don't need a spy at that point. You know who the spies are? The 8 guys in the end zone can come up at that point.
So Eugene Asante just stands there. Now, if he spies for a second and then rushes, late rush, and maybe gets a gap, okay, great. But no, he just stands there. So now you're 11
I got a
on
theory
10
on this, by the way.
Okay, you're 11 on 10 at that point, right?
Yep.
Your 2 pass rushers end up just dancing with the offensive line.
Yeah.
They're non-factors in that play.
Double teams.
Yeah, they're nowhere going. So really, Alabama ran that play 11 on 8. When you start to break it down, I mean, the numbers didn't benefit Auburn as much as they could have. Now, I'm not saying you drop everybody into coverage, but I am saying you wasted 3 players. If you're not going to try to pressure Milroe, at least get him to move a little bit. He just stood there and bounced and scanned and watched everything. Yeah. He knew the play. He's watching it unfold. You ran that play 11 on 8 if you're Auburn. I mean, there's really no other way around those numbers.
Here's my take. I haven't heard it from anywhere else.
Good.
This is all Jim
We got a
take.
fresh Dunaway take.
I thought of this last night. I would imagine the Auburn coaches went up to the officials before the play, and they said, now you watch their linemen and see if they get downfield trying to block our middleman.
Oh, so you think they tried to bait in a lineman going downfield?
Yep, and hats off to the guy who has jacked up some snaps all year long for not taking the bait and going down too far and engaging that one player sitting out there for Auburn.
Would have been dumb on his part.
But at the same time, I'm sure
thought
Alabama
they were trying to bait him.
Yeah,
that staff was saying, whatever you do,
don't go
downfield.
Guys,
we're gonna have
Jalen ain't running, so you stay right where you are.
Just pass protect.
It was so I watched it with girlfriend. She had never watched an Iron Bowl before, and so after we got a few people over, 2 Alabama fans, and they were actually pretty contained, believe it or not. I mean, they were obviously excited after the touchdown there. But when it panned to the crowd and people were crying, she's like, "What is going on?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like the human emotion. She
I was
not
like,
prepared for it.
You just don't understand the magnitude of this game.
That is 2 straight times at Jordan Hare where I have stood on the sideline at the end of the game watching Auburn fans prepared to rush the field, and at the last moment have it ripped away from them and seen the tears. I mean, there is real human emotion that is involved in this game. And I mean, you saw it on both sides. You saw the celebration of the Alabama fans who pulled a win out of nowhere. And then you saw the emotion of the Auburn fans. You saw tears in the stands. I mean, I know CBS showed it, but, buddy, I'm telling you, being there in person, you saw a lot more of it.
Dude, and there is something about that stadium.
It's wild, isn't it?
It's so fun. It is so fun to be there for that game at that place.
I thought the play of the game was going to be where Milroe scrambles down to get it to 4th and, a foot or 2 when they went to Roydell. That stop, the collision there.
I mean, what a play.
Yeah, I was like, my gosh, because, you got Milroe running full speed, and to be able to stop him dead in his tracks to set up a 4th down.
It was a car wreck.
Yeah, it really was, and did not like the call going outside there.
I didn't either in real time. Now, I asked in the postgame, I asked actually Nick Saban to describe it. To tell me what's happening there. And once he described it and I went back and watched it, I liked it a lot more because I'm with you. I like the sneak. But he described it, so I went back and watched it. I was on the field, so I'm watching it field level. I'm like, whoa, boy, that was a big risk. But when you went back and watched it, it was genius what they did, really. They get to the line early, make Auburn stay on the line.
Pretty shocking. Nobody moved by Alabama.
I know, really. They're able to look and see that Auburn, their numbers are inside. They're trying to take away the quarterback sneak, so they know they've only got to make the one block. And you've got that fullback in motion to make the block.
I know, but that was I thought the Auburn defender did a great job
he played it perfect.
firing up the field.
No doubt.
Because that's a slippery field this time of year because they overseed it to keep it green. And the cut that Roydell had to make because of that guy just firing out there like that.
I just think there's too many things that can go wrong going outside. I'll give you an example. I don't know if you guys.
I think they thought it might be a touchdown. I think they thought they had a touchdown on that play based on the alignment.
Gotcha. Well, but Milroe seems like a safe option based on this brotherly shove we've been watching. He seems like a safe option to be able to pick you up a yard up the middle. Yesterday we had the Jaguars -1.5 on the road against Texans. Really good game. I don't know if you guys watched it.
I saw the end.
But right before the half, there was a busted cover, and Christian Kirk goes out on the 1 yard line. And so Doug Peterson's got to make a decision. Do we kick the field goal to go up 16, or do we go for the touchdown to go up 20?
You've only got the one play.
One play, and you've got a 6'6" Trevor Lawrence on the goal line. And they throw it wide to Travis Etienne, he gets, taken down for a loss of 1. There's just, to me, going up the middle with a big physical quarterback is the way to go on those.
The reason I asked Nick Saban that question, though, Dunaway, is because I'm standing, and Milroe clearly checks off to something. I'm like, boy, in that situation, for Milroe to check off is ballsy, because if that doesn't work,
the ball game's over.
Game is over, and that's why I asked the question, and Saban clarified that it's an automatic checkoff. That he goes to the line, you bark to try to draw them off sides and get the cheap first down, and if they don't jump, which Auburn did not, he tried to draw them off. If they don't jump, you look to the line of you look to the sidelines, and we're going to tell you either sneak it or go outside. So the call was made from the sidelines. That's the reason I asked, is because you could tell Milroe checked off. And I was like, boy, for him to check off in that situation.
Lots still to get to with the emotions of this game. The show being brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Leslie, her board-certified team, back from the Thanksgiving holiday, open for business this week. And you can jump in there and maybe start your weight loss journey like I did a few years ago. Helped me lose 45 pounds when I was pushing way into dangerous category. And then there's the other things as you get older. Maybe blood pressure or cholesterol problems can creep up if your diet's not just right as you get older as a man. They can help you control that as well and do a variety of different things. If you just want to feel healthier, they can do all of that. The website's aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com, and you'll find out there's no contracts, there's no sign-up fee, and your first consultation's free. So there's really no out-of-pocket money that risk anything. Just jump online, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Rockstar, let's get some of the emotions of this game. Let's go Hugh Freeze first, cut number 1. And this is just the heartbreaking emotion. I mean, New Mexico State beat this team for 60 minutes by 3 touchdowns, 31-10. For 60 minutes. Mm-hmm. Auburn did not stand a chance to beat New Mexico State. They controlled that game beginning to end. And then Hugh Freeze had to pick up the pieces and come in, as we said they would all week long, to have a different-looking Auburn team on the field and a different plan against Alabama. And then to have it ripped away at the end, you can only imagine what Hugh Freeze in his Auburn locker room was feeling.
First, really proud of our kids and the way they fought and prepared. But obviously it stinks to not get the win tonight. And we didn't play good enough in the critical moments. Had a turnover with probably 3 minutes to go or 4 minutes to go, and then obviously didn't execute fourth and whatever it was there. And then it really came down to those few plays in a game like this. But man, it's a lot of hurt in that locker room, and it stinks. Our kids gave themselves a chance to win the Iron Bowl tonight, and that's going to stick with us for a while.
Yeah. Now, listen, the coaches got them in a position to win the game, but I do feel like the coaches let them down at the end.
100%.
I just did not like the last play, And then, okay, your main punt guy can't go out there because of a hamstring. Is that what we're hearing? That maybe it was a hammy?
I think that's what he said on social media, is that he took himself out, if I'm not mistaken.
So now you don't have your normal punt return guy out. Let me ask you, if you don't even put anybody back to field that punt, if you just let it roll around back there, is there a chance Auburn still wins the football game? Yes.
There's a chance. That's easy to say right now, but if you don't do that, that ball probably rolls inside the 10. You're pinned way down. You got to run at that point. Alabama knows run is coming. They got a chance to stop you and get the ball back out at midfield with timeouts. I wouldn't like that strategy, no. I mean, in hindsight, it's a much better strategy than what happened, but that's ultimate hindsight right there.
Yeah, and this season is going to be remembered for these last 2 games for New Mexico State.
I was going to get to this.
And it's going to be remembered for 4th and 31. Look, Hugh Freeze, to me, I still think he did a B+, A-like job getting this team to 6-6. And having them this prepared after a bad loss to New Mexico State, he did it with an awful quarterback.
He did.
Like, he is, I would assume, is going to have a much better option at quarterback in year 2.
I don't think it can get much worse.
I don't think it could either.
Yeah.
91 passing, 93 for the team, 91 for Peyton Thorne in this game. But they had 3 guys that were over 50 yards rushing, and they ran for 244 yards against Alabama. It just felt like, and maybe it's the immediate emotions after the game, and I haven't talked to any of the Auburn people up here that we work with, but the people that I play golf with and spend a lot of my life with who are Auburn people, it felt like Hugh lost a little bit of the honeymoon period the last 2 weeks.
Oh, I don't know if I'd go that
Yeah,
far.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, I'm not saying a divorce is
Oh,
going
no, I get that.
I think Auburn fans-
But Nick Saban was 6-6 in that first year, right? He lost to Auburn. He lost to Louisiana Monroe in the final month.
I mean, the Auburn fans I have heard from were encouraged by it. Now, again, I remember, and I said this on the postgame show, I remember that same feeling leaving the Iron Bowl in 2009 when people were like, man, look at that. Gene Chizik played the national champion to a one-possession game. Future is bright. And you end up firing Gene Chizik, going to national championship. I think the height of Harson's era at Auburn was coming out of last year, or the 2 years ago Iron Bowl. I think it's the best it ever got for Brian Harsin.
Right, because you left that field saying, man, that Alabama team with Bryce Young, who went on to win the Heisman, Auburn should have won the game.
But that said, I think there are reasons to be optimistic for Hugh Freeze. I haven't noticed that. I haven't noticed that he burned any goodwill. I think fans understand he's got to make some changes, but I think they feel like, they were in a game they weren't supposed to be in. Everybody wants to call that a moral victory and call it whatever you want. But I do feel like that's the general feeling among Auburn fans.
Offensive coordinator back next year?
Probably not.
Defensive coordinator back next year?
I don't – before the last 2 weeks, I don't know that I would have said Ron Roberts is in trouble, but I think you got to evaluate it.
Yeah, I mean, how close is he to Hugh Freeze?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
They've coached together before.
But the rushing 2 at the end is not an Auburn problem. That's a universal problem. Rushing 2, rushing 3 is a universal problem in football.
Well, it's
giving them too much time to throw Hail Marys.
Yeah, I do think it's the thing you worry about. Like, I think it's where the offense always has the advantage in that situation, is that the defense doesn't know what to do with their front. And again, Auburn just took 3 guys out of the play is what they did. Yeah. And that's why if you're going to fire Ron Roberts, that's one of the things that you probably consider, was that strategy of we're going to play Alabama 8 on 11 the last play. That's just a bad strategy. Now, you can only send 5 guys out, so technically you're 8 on 5.
Tyler Booker joins our show next, winning Iron Bowl offensive lineman. So we'll hear from Tyler. Joel Klatt at 10:25 Central today, coming up in the second hour of the show, as we talk about more of the big picture as we get to the final week of the chase for the college football playoff, still with 8 teams alive. Maybe 7 depending on what you do with Ohio State, but a lot of people still consider 8 teams still alive. Show being brought to you by a couple of great folks, including our friends at Redmond Vodka.
Redmond Vodka, great product, locally owned and operated. Charles Barkley, one of the incredible faces behind Redmond Vodka. It is 8 times distilled. It's gluten-free. It's available in 22 states. Ask for it by name at your local bar or restaurant. If they don't have it, tell them to get it. It is Redmond Vodka.
And our friends at mybookie.ag. They bring you Monday Morning Live. Got another Monday Monday Morning Live in the books from this morning. You can get that on all of our platforms. We'll be back next Monday as well after the championship games and the playoff field is set. Brown, the SEC championship line at mybookie.ag.
I'll get an update. Opened at 4, Lance, if I saw that right. 3.5 or 4.
Oh, it's up to 5.5.
It was 5 last night when I saw it last night. So it's 5.5 now.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem for Bama.
Opened at 4, up to 5.5. So you think the public is all over Georgia? Stealing me?
No, I mean, I think the public. I think this is smart money that took this from 4 to 5.5.
The early smart money. What was the 2021?
This is going to be a very predictable weekend, in my opinion.
Lance is all on Georgia.
Early lean. No, I'm talking about with Texas and with Oregon and with Florida State.
Currently -5. Currently -5. Georgia favored over Alabama at mybookie.ag. In case you're wondering, Oregon 9.5 over Washington State, the Pac-12 championship game Friday night. MyBookie.ag, code next round. That is your sign-in. And when you make your initial deposit with code next round, they're going to do a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. 50% up to $1,000 at MyBookie.ag. That's when you use code next round. You can use that money right away. Bet it, win with it once. It is yours and yours forever. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. We talk with Alabama's Tyler Booker next on the next round.
Spittin' Lugs with ESPN's Tom Luganville and Lance Taylor weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Tom Luganville here for Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear. For great holiday shopping for the whole family, this place is a must. Jack's carries all the name brands in boots, hats, and apparel, including the Kynes Ranch brand, as seen on Yellowstone. You might not look like Kevin Costner, but you can dress like him. Jack's also has the only Ariat shop within a shop in the state of Alabama. Come see us every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just look for the big red building off I-65, exit 304 in Coleman.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Show being brought to you today in part by the great folks at the University of Montevallo, montevallo.edu, montevallo.edu. If you're looking for a place your son or daughter is starting to look and tour some colleges, put Montevallo on your radar right there. 23 NCAA Division II fully funded scholarship sports, wonderful theater, music department, business school, broadcasting school, and so much more. Continue that educational, academically, and athletically growing at Montevallo, montevallo.edu, montevallo.edu.
All right, Alabama's Tyler Booker joins us each week, courtesy of Craneworks and Rentalworks. The big guy says, check out the big dog, Craneworks and Rentalworks. He is with us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Tyler? What'd you do this weekend?
Not much, just enjoy some Thanksgiving leftovers. How about y'all?
What an incredible game, man. I mean, the Iron Bowl, especially for whatever reason at Jordan-Hare Stadium, is just so wild and unpredictable.
Definitely is. I remember last time I spoke to you guys, I talked about how the stadium gave the superpowers, and the superpowers are definitely active.
Hey, look, from your vantage point, I know you didn't have to block anybody because they only sent 2. But when you saw Jalen release the football, the trajectory going towards Isaiah in the corner of the end zone, when did you realize, hey, this is we're going to win this game?
The ref's hands were halfway up like this. I was like, is he about to put his hands up? Because it was too far for me to see. And then my teammates were celebrating. I was like, I don't want to get my hopes up. I was like, I'm gonna just look at the ref. I was just looking at the ref when he put his hands up. I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't know what to think. I was just speechless.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, is that the most incredible win that you've ever been a part of, just based on circumstances?
Second. So when I was in middle school, I was on the 5th grade, playing on the 7th and 8th grade football team. We won in the same sort of fashion. We completed our undefeated season on that drive. We threw Mikey Hayes threw a Hail Mary to Greg Altamore to win the game on the last play.
Oh, you remember the names. I like that.
Yeah.
How, in 5th grade, or excuse me, 7th grade, how far is a Hail Mary? Is that about 31 yards? I mean, how far is a Hail Mary pass?
It was a 50-yard pass.
50 yards?
Pass.
Yeah. Was that game at Jordan-Hare as well?
That's what it felt like.
Hey, where's our quarterback that was throwing it 50 yards as a 12-year-old
Is
now?
he playing still?
No, I don't even think he's playing football anymore.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, not with that arm. He may be in the big leagues pitching right now. Tyler Booker's with us as we, in the aftermath of the Iron Bowl, and we'll look ahead to the SEC championship coming up in a second. Just to get to that point, though, what wasn't clicking offensively, or what was Auburn doing defensively that kept this from being a smooth offensive day for Alabama, that this was in jeopardy down to the final seconds?
I mean, when you look at us offensively in the first quarter of the game, our first 3 possessions, I want to say, we were moving the ball. There was nothing that their defense was doing to stop us. It's just we kept shooting ourselves on the foot, and we lost momentum. And in games and environments like that, we can't lose momentum. So I feel like that's the biggest thing that happened this weekend. I don't want to say that we played any harder or less harder at any point in the game. I feel like we had great energy the whole game. It's just we lost momentum. And in environments, in games like that, with that much tension and emotion, you can't afford to lose momentum.
Alabama's Tyler Booker is with us, courtesy of Craneworks and Rentalworks. The big dog says check out, the big guy says check out the big dog, Craneworks and Rentalworks. He is on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. So we find out from Isaiah Bond the name of the play is Gravedigger. Nick Saban said it's something you guys have practiced. It does require an element of luck. How many times have you personally practiced that play? I mean, is that a dumb question? Is it just one of those things where you guys are working on 2 minutes and you work on every possible situation? How often when they called that play are you like, okay, we've done this?
I don't get the Gravedigger call. I just get the protection call, but I see it come up on the schedule probably once a week, every Friday, whenever we're going through fine-tuning things for the game the next day. So we run it once a week, every Friday, just in case. You know, never think is gonna get ran, but I heard it in the huddle. I was like, oh wow, we're here. So
yeah, I think most Alabama fans thought it was over at 2nd and goal when you lose 18 on the bad snap. When you guys went back, looked at that, talked about it, what went wrong with the communication there?
Are you referring to the bad snap?
Yeah.
So if you look on film, their safety actually walks up and claps. We've been going off the clap for the whole game. So I heard the clap too. I just wasn't sure, so I just went on the movement of the ball. So that things like that happen. We have to account for that. But in a loud environment like that, you're just waiting and listening on that clap. When you hear any kind of clap, that's just things that's on the field. You're gonna flinch. I think everybody on the offensive line definitely flinched and just snapped the ball. So there's nothing that we could have done about that. We just had a next play mentality. And we were like, okay, let's respond.
So you guys were, even in that crazy environment, still using the clap, not just a silent count?
Yeah, we were on the clap.
Okay. So moving ahead now, SEC championship game coming up against Georgia. Everyone always talks about these two rosters are so much alike, and a lot of the schemes are so much alike. As you start thinking about that game, do you picture Georgia and Alabama being, almost brothers or, not identical twins when you look at rosters and schemes and the way the programs are built?
Definitely, and it's very funny because everybody at Alabama at one point almost went to Georgia, and everybody at Georgia at one point almost went to Alabama. So it's funny, like we have great. I feel like everybody has a relationship with somebody on that Georgia roster, so it's definitely going to be a great game. Like one of my best friends at IMG, Warren Branson, who I will be going up against during the game. That's one of my best friends in the world. I'll be playing against him, and this is something that we've been dreaming about ever since I committed to Alabama. So I'm very excited for this weekend.
In a sense, Tyler Booker is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He joins us each week courtesy of Craneworks and RentalWorks. The big guy says, look at the big dog, Craneworks and RentalWorks. There are a lot of people on your roster that have had to do exactly what you're having to do this week. That is overcome a crazy emotional game that everybody wants to continue to bask in and talk about and turn around and play an SEC championship game against what might be the best team in the nation. In a weird sense, you guys have prepared for this already. A lot of people on your roster having done it. How much has that leadership already spoken up about what is in front of you this week and getting, even though we continue asking you questions about it, getting Saturday behind you and moving on?
Well, we spoke briefly about it after the game. We'll have meetings later on to go over the game, go over filming. We'll have a talk as a leadership. Well, as a team, excuse me, but after the game, Coach Saban told us, like, hey, this is a wake-up call. A wake-up call for all of us to see where we are and what we need to do in order to perform this upcoming weekend. So we're just excited for the challenge that Georgia presents. And these are the kind of games that make you as a player and make a team.
And it's hard to believe that you've been there almost 2 full years. A, you've never played Georgia, and B, this will be your real first playoff-like game.
Yeah, it is crazy. Obviously, I wanted to get there last year, but I've been waiting on this opportunity. A bunch of my teammates have been, and we're looking forward to taking advantage of it.
Can you describe the atmosphere in the locker room after that win? I know we've talked with you about this before. That's a sacred place. You don't divulge everything, but just after such a wild, crazy ending, can you describe the locker room for us once you got in there?
I say astonished, shocked, like we in awe. Like, did that just happen? You know what I mean? Like, it was. I mean, of course, we believed in it, but it's just for it to actually happen and come to fruition, that win in that kind of environment, in that kind of thing, we were just excited to win the game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Everybody's going to talk about, oh, this team lost to New Mexico State last week. Oh, they're 6-5. You guys should have been that close. At the end of the day, it's the SEC. You're going to get everybody's best every week. So for us to be able to come away with a win, that's the main goal. We were ecstatic to have a win.
We've seen some of the videos that some of your teammates posted on TikTok of Coach Saban and everyone sort of, I wouldn't call what he was doing was dancing, but there was some dancing around and some cheering and stuff going on. So I would imagine it's a great feeling. And did your mom hang around Thanksgiving, get to go to the game? Was she there?
Yeah, everybody was there.
Yeah,
everybody was able to go to the game. So my little brother, he was he was in the stands crying. My dad told me that my little brother was in the stands. Oh my gosh, we're gonna lose. He's like, Mason, shut up. Just believe. Watch the play. And then 5 seconds later, he's like, oh my gosh.
So I know a lot of Alabama. I know a lot of Alabama fans have been scoreboard watching Texas and Florida State and Washington and Oregon. Have you guys been paying attention to that at all?
No, I mean, all we pay attention to is who we have upcoming next and controlling what we can control. We can't control if Florida State loses, if Texas loses, if Washington loses, if Oregon loses. What we can control is putting out a great performance and winning this upcoming week to put the committee in a position to where, like, okay, we can't leave Alabama out of the playoff. That's all we can do at this moment. So we're putting all of our energy and focus towards that.
He is Alabama's Tyler Booker, getting ready for the Georgia Bulldogs. Good luck in the SEC championship game, Tyler. As always, we appreciate the time.
Thank you. Y'all have a great week.
All right,
See
buddy. You
soon.
too. Take care. Tyler with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Like Elijah McAllister, the Auburn team captain, has all season long. And also Jalen Milroe, the quarterback. Terrion Arnold, the defensive back, who didn't get the touchdown at the end, it turns out. They are presented by Craneworks. Craneworks and Rentalworks. I'll get to it. Craneworks and Rentalworks. That's who brings you those players. They're all big guys. They say, look to the big dog, Craneworks and Rentalworks.
It didn't mean anything to me.
Oh, there's people that did.
Oh, I know. Yeah. This had major impacts on some outcomes of some wagers. I don't understand.
Money line.
Well, they would have covered a tease at that point.
Yeah. I think I saw second half money line or second half total.
Second half total.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning that they didn't get in?
Stepped out of bounds.
That was the ruling, but you never saw a replay on TV. I mean, I haven't seen anything that shows
replay
it.
officials say
That's the official
the
word.
replay officials reviewed it and said he stepped on at the 3-yard line.
I think it's a dangerous precedent, though. I mean, I just think that's a dangerous place to be.
You don't think it's dangerous to let it stand if he did step out of bounds?
Well, I think the SEC needs to provide the replay that showed he stepped out of bounds because CBS never showed it.
Right.
And I think they need to be above board. I think it's a dangerous precedent just to rule it and act like it didn't matter.
No, I would agree that it would be good to see the video at some point.
That's
for
right.
them to release it wherever they release it.
People are saying he 100% stepped out.
Yeah. He may have. I'm not arguing that he did. I'm just saying the SEC overturned that play with absolutely no explanation.
Yeah, and they never showed it on CBS.
Yeah, CBS had no clue until they're going off air that it had even been overturned.
Yeah.
So, and that's not the SEC's fault, right? SEC, they don't control what CBS shows. CBS didn't think it was meaningful, and for most people, it's not. I'm just saying to overturn a touchdown without any sort of support publicly is a very, very, very dangerous precedent.
I would say this, though. We do a lot for the gambling industry, right? Mm-hmm. I would hate to take away from the emotions of how that is ending there, the celebration on the field and the reaction in the stands and all of that, to have them stop and somehow make an announcement and they're not able to show me replays of all of that. I want the emotions. I don't want my enjoyment of the game, if I'm watching it at home, to be dictated by the gambling industry. More than it already is.
But you could say, hey, look, I mean, teams celebrating, fans celebrating. Hey, these officials are going to look to see if he went out of bounds or not, and CBS could stick with that.
I'm fine with the officials leaving the field.
Celebration.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, you can sit with the celebration and then come back and say, hey, look, here's what they. I mean, you've got time to at least show us what happened.
I'm fine with the way it playing out. That's fine. And CBS leaves there and they go to New Heisman, the guys in the studio. I just think it's incumbent upon the SEC to come back and say, we understand. For whatever reason, to the extent anyone cares, that the replay was never shown on TV. This is the view we use to overturn the call.
This is why it's 27-24.
That's right. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm okay.
The SEC should do that.
Later on, you can show it.
That's fine.
But let's don't stop it there
I'm with
for
you 100%
meaningless
on that.
points.
I'm with you.
Just for the gambling industry to take away my enjoyment of what's going on the field.
Says Jimmy Addict over there.
Well, I'm just saying that I don't want to do everything for the gambling.
I'm with you.
World,
but you also knowing that it is legal. I mean, this is not just illegal gambling. That was legally bet upon.
I'm all for gambling.
It's incumbent upon It's incumbent upon the SEC to be above board. That's my point. You don't want the image that you're doing things in dark rooms that nobody speaks of, and that's the image on that right now because nobody's seen the replay.
Yeah. Hydrolife brings us part of the show. More of the Iron Bowl on the field coming up in a second.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof, open 7 days a week. 2 locations right here around us. One in Greystone, the newest location. One in Homewood, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you can't make it to Hydrolife, guess what? They can send a nurse to you. Make sure you mention next round at checkout. You're going to save 20% off any of their great services. I guess this is Cyber Monday, right?
It is.
Cyber Monday. Save today with Hydrolife. Again, 20% off. You can order gift cards right now. Get into one of those 2 locations or online, hydrolifetherapy.com.
Forrester is showing the video of him stepping out, the video, a frozen shot on CBS from their coverage. You can see the step out right there.
He is out. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But there again.
Yeah, I never knew. Never saw a replay.
Yeah. Nick Saban afterwards, a lot of celebration pregame, throughout the game of the kick six 10 years earlier. And Nick Saban, this is how he started his news conference outside of the Alabama locker room.
Believe it or not, we actually practice that play every Friday when we do walkthrough and we do special situations. We get in that formation. Everybody runs down the field and runs varying routes in the end zone. And, Jalen made a great throw, but, IB really kind of got himself in position where there was some room to throw it. He pushed inside, and the DB was inside of him, and then he came back out, and Jalen threw it back out to him, and it was a great catch. It was a great throw. But that is a play that we actually work on. And I must admit that I think you have to be a little lucky for it to work, but I'll take it. If the play had a name, I wouldn't tell you what it was.
And that gets us to cut 5 then, Rockstar. If you'll give us cut 5. Brown, did you ask the question, Brown, or you were just part of this interview?
I think I asked it. I can't remember. This was moving fast.
Yeah, Isaiah Bond, and this is Brown in that interview where Isaiah Bond, who didn't know Nick Saban wasn't going to tell everybody the name, told everybody the name.
Actually, that was the first time we've ever thrown that route in practice, game, anything. So I was astonished too. But no, I was honestly astonished making the catch. I knew I'm a great player, great receiver. I knew I could make big time plays. So making that play, it wasn't a shock to me.
You guys have a name for it?
The play?
Yeah.
Gravedigger.
Gravedigger.
Yeah, Gravedigger.
What's the last thing Jalen said to you guys in
We need to make a play. Honestly, that's all you can say. In a situation like that, you're down 4, you got no field goal, you got to score. So going out there and scoring a touchdown was the only option.
No, I did not ask that question, as it turns out, but I did respond because that's just an incredible name.
It's an incredible name. What's so funny is I was sitting there probably halftime of Florida State, and Maddie was like, "Man, this is the quickest I've ever seen a T-shirt turned around." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she showed me Gravedigger. I didn't hear any post game. I was like, "What in the hell is Gravedigger?" And she was like, "It's in y'all's shop right now."
There it is.
And if you would like to celebrate the Iron Bowl win, one of the iconic plays in Alabama history, nextround.store. Nextround.store, limited supply, limited offers. So we won't keep this up very long. So go and jump in. Nextround.store, and order it today so we can get the order in. The Gravedigger T-shirt right there about one of the greatest plays of all time in Iron Bowl history. We'll talk about the ranking of the great plays later in the show. When we come back, more on what we saw this weekend in college football and the coaching carousel that is starting to crank up. A couple of hires in the SEC. That and a lot more as we move on today in the show that's being brought to you by our friends at A+, Brownie.
A+ Tile Home Remodeling. That's who redid the master bath in our house. I tell you all the time when you are updating your house, the place to spend the money is the master bath and the kitchen. That's where you get your money back. Master bath and kitchen. Master bath and kitchen. I say it all the time. And my man, Brad Bell, is the guy that did the master bath in our house. Scott's showing you the original photos. We just wanted it darker and more updated. And Brad came in. We told him that's what we wanted. It's exactly what he did. He did tremendous work in our master bath, and we love every bit of it. His crews were timely. They were on time every single day. They worked hard. They were clean. They kept us updated on everything that was going on. There were no surprises. I cannot express to you more how much we enjoyed this process and how easy it was for us. You can do the same thing. In fact, Lance did the same thing. He saw it, and he's like, my bathroom's darker. I'd like to go lighter. And Brad said, all right, man, you tell me what to do. I'll do it. And he did great work at Lance's, too. So we trust him. You can as well. So many of you have contacted Brad. We appreciate that. Here's his number, 205-422-1758. Anywhere in Alabama, 205-422-1758 for Brad Bell. A-plus tile home remodeling. If you miss any of this at all, you just reach out to me on social media or email, and I'll get you hooked up with my man, Brad Bell. More of the Next Round next.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter @RockstarBHM.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap. IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Live Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got two great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Ryan Brown here for the Next Round with a question for you. Are you on the bandwagon yet? Bandwagon wants to invite you to one of their 3 retail locations in Birmingham for all your holiday shopping. Bandwagon has the top brands in sporting goods, athleisure, and lifestyle apparel. You can check your entire family off the list at Bandwagon with brands like Task, Bird Dog, and Varley, plus the best in sports equipment. Visit the Bandwagon locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trussville, or online, bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round hosts a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, presented by Redmont Vodka. LT has in-depth conversations with personalities like Clay Travis and Taylor Hicks. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple and Spotify. And remember to like and subscribe.
Back with you on the Next Round. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at Simpio. LT, I'll tell you about Simpio in just a second. We'll point out that a little bridge between the Iron Bowl and the SEC Championship a little bit more exciting this week because we have the SEC ACC Basketball Challenge, which I think is Tuesday and Wednesday night. I know Alabama at home with Clemson. Auburn is Virginia Tech,
who just got completely drug across the floor by Florida Atlantic yesterday.
Yeah, well, Florida Atlantic's a really good team.
34-point win.
And so is Auburn. And then Alabama and Clemson's part of it. But you get the big boys, Kentucky and the North Carolinas and the Dukes playing each other. So really good games, Tuesday, Wednesday. Cheer for the SEC to dominate the ACC, so that'll help us out on Selection Sunday. for all the teams in the league. Tell us about Sympio, LT.
Hey, Sympio is going to take care of the BS in every single office when your business joins Sympio. They take care of the 4 pillars: compliance, HR, payroll, benefits. When your company joins Sympio, you gain access to health care and employer benefits at prices only the large organizations get. On average, Sympio is saving companies of all sizes and industries over 18% in net of their fees. You can join Sympio any time of year. No annual contract. With that being said, Sympio has a 99% retention rate. Call for more information, 205-635-7467 or Sympio.com.
I see some of the best and worst of the weekend coming in the chat room. We'll get to that at the top of the next hour before Joel Klatt. But right here, let's discuss the coaching carousel that has filled up 3 jobs over the weekend. And let's go first with Mike Elko arriving in College Station from Duke. This is him getting off the plane. Mike Elko has arrived in College Station from Carter Carousel there. And Elko is back there, and he is going to be the head coach at Texas A&M. Now, do you guys believe at some point on Saturday night that same plane had Mark Stoops in it and was landed at College?
No.
There was one report that said he actually got on the plane and went to College Station and then got turned around.
I don't believe that. You know, we talked about how quiet this was, and I think it was just a gentleman's agreement. Mike Elko said, hey, look, I want to coach my last game in Durham. I want to keep this, under wraps, and I want to go out with my team in this final game, and then we can make the announcement. That's at least the way I felt. I could be wrong. I think Elko's a nice, solid hire. He's done a really good job in 2 years at Duke. He did a great job as defensive coordinator, not only at Notre Dame, but also Texas A&M. So he knows the landscape. He knows the boosters. He knows how the ins and outs work in College Station. So I think it's a really solid hire. We'll see whether or not it works out in wins and losses. It's obviously a more difficult job than we think it is.
The reason I don't entirely believe the Stoops stuff is Jimmy Sexton is his agent. I'm not saying that bad about Sexton. I'm just saying this is Sexton's way of doing business. Is you'll have 3 or 4 schools convinced they're losing their coach to Texas A&M before the guy finally gets there.
Report is Stoops made an announcement. I am staying, and that does not increase. Our contract has not changed one bit. No increase in pay and no increase in years.
Yeah, and we'll see. But maybe assistants get more money. I mean, it's not. I'm not because Stoops has a great contract. I mean, Sexton's already cashed in on a great contract for Stoops.
And I only bring this up because Saturday night, while we were post Iron Bowl. Whichever side of the coin you're on, the rumor was Mark Stoops. You even told me. You were the one that told me.
Yeah.
Mark Stoops is getting the Texas A&M job.
We were knee-deep in Iron Bowl stuff, and I got a text on that, and I was like, this cannot be true.
Yeah.
What a weird hire to hire Mark Stoops.
And apparently Texas A&M fans reacted that way, that it wasn't a good hire, much like Tennessee did with Schiano.
I would have been, as an A&M fan, I would have been very underwhelmed with the hiring of Mark Stoops.
Yeah. Now,
I would not have been excited about that at all.
Is Casey, right? The former
Casey
was
Smith?
Barstool.
Yeah.
I saw her reaction. It was 12:30. I was already back home from the Iron Bowl. It's 12:30 Central Time, and she's doing. She's the one that's talking about Mark Stoops, and it's not going to be Mark Stoops now, and she's reacting to that in real time. And Mark Stoops would have been a good hire.
No,
I don't know if I agree.
think Mark Stoops would have been a good hire. I would rather Mark Stoops is more proven. Very difficult job, but I would have rather have had Elko if I'm an A&M fan.
Given the choice, I would have chosen Elko. Again, I'll say this. I don't think they're hiring Elko if he had never been an assistant there, which to me is a terrible reason to hire a coach. We'll see if this works out.
To me, the no-brainer, because I didn't know whether or not he was going to leave. I thought based on money and opportunity that he might. But the first guy that reached out to me, Charlie Battelle, a big Michigan fan, said Jonathan Smith is taking Michigan State. And I was like, you're getting a false report. He's not going to take the cesspool job that is Michigan State.
More on that in a second. But Forrester right now has Mark Stoops tweet up. I know there's been speculation about me and my job situation the last couple of days. It's true that I was contacted about a potential opportunity this weekend. But after celebrating a big win against our rivals with players I love like family, I knew in my heart I couldn't leave the University of Kentucky right now. I have a great job at a place I love, and I get to work with the best administration and greatest fan base in college football. I'm excited to stay a Wildcat. Makes it look like Elko is the second choice.
Yeah, I don't believe it. But, possibly.
Yeah, and I don't know if he is or not. I would not have been excited about a Stoops hire if I'm an A&M fan. And I don't know. I guess they're excited about Elko. Again, I don't think you're hiring the guy if he never coached there. And to me, that's a bad reason to hire. But I also don't know, how wide a net they cast. I don't know if Dabo was interested. I don't know all those
You know,
things.
and with Elko, you get a quarterback that will go with you in Riley Leonard.
Good,
Yeah. I mean, I think that he will get a massive NIL deal to come to College Station. A lot of people don't realize how good he was at the beginning of the season, kind of tapered off once he got hurt, injured that ankle against Notre Dame. But Riley Leonard could be a really, really good quarterback.
Couple of more things to get to in this segment here after Brownie tells us about our friends at JohnsonRVCenter.com.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator. You guys do such an amazing job supporting our sponsors. So this doesn't surprise us when Johnson RV calls us and says, hey, listen, we have sold a lot of RVs, so we got a lot of trade-ins, and we need to get rid of those too now. They've been to the Forest River Expo and picked out all the new stuff, and it's arriving daily. So they got to get rid of all the stuff that is traded in, and you're going to be the beneficiary of that. You're going to get great deals. Now, you still get the new stuff, like up to $179 a month with approved credit, as low as that. But this used stuff, man, you're going to get some great deals on it. Go see it for yourself. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator, always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Len, my believer, does Elko affect Evan Stewart to Alabama? Evan Stewart, the great receiver that is in the portal. Mike Elko was perceived to be the guy that got the great recruiting class, that he was the guy that was heading up recruiting that helped bring in that great recruiting class. That NIL money, that was when NIL opened up, but you still got the NIL money. So there is a chance that Elko, who recruited a lot of those big star players for A&M, can keep that roster together maybe more than some other coach. Jeff Lebby is the coach at Mississippi State. Offensive-minded guy, a unique offensive-minded guy with Art Briles' roots. In fact, he is married to Art Briles' daughter, also coached with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. He's now the head coach at Mississippi State. I like the hire.
Yeah, I mean, I like the hire too. You're kind of, I don't want to say limited, but you don't have the same options. Obviously, Texas A&M, you're not hiring from the same pool. And Lebby's a guy that's earned his stripes. I mean, this is a guy that offensively you can't really deny. Last year, Dylan Gabriel and that personnel didn't come together, but in year two it did. Yeah, this was a really good offense.
And then there's the one that LT mentioned briefly, but I want to get more on this, is Jonathan Smith leaving Oregon State, his school, to go coach at Michigan State.
I think it just shows you he was looking for a good boat out of Corvallis, and it's a shame because he played there. It's his old school, but with their future, you just don't know. And I think he had to jump out of there when he got the first decent offer. If Oregon State if they had been part of the move to the Big Ten, I'd stay there before I take the Michigan State job.
I think he would have.
Yeah, I think he would have too. But with if they were still a Pac-12 school, I don't know that he jumps at Michigan State. But I think with the unknown future, you got to jump to Michigan State. Yeah. It's a messy situation there now, no doubt.
I think he was handcuffed, and I would have loved to seen him get an opportunity with a bigger, better job. I think he'll do a good job at Michigan State. I think Michigan State will be relevant again in the Big Ten.
Right. Because their NIL is unbelievable. They will be able to put together NIL money.
And I'll tell you who didn't want this happening was Lincoln Riley. Because he's already got his hands full with Dan Lanning, Kalen DeBoer. Now you get Jonathan Smith coming to Michigan State. You've obviously got Michigan and Ohio State there. But this guy did a fantastic job in Corvallis, and I'm just a little surprised. Like, maybe they tried to work the A&M job. But I would believe if you had the opportunity, Jonathan Smith or Mike Elko, you take Jonathan Smith.
I would have, yeah.
Yeah. Luke said that this job attracted Jonathan Smith, other than the obvious Big Ten is secure and all that. NIL money. And the fact that Michigan State, program-wise, in the Big Ten is a lot like his Oregon State is, even to the point of the size of stadiums and the weather that they play in will be almost identical. Other than changing colors, it'll look like Jonathan Smith is still coaching Oregon State and Michigan State.
He's going to feel like one of those guys potentially that we never saw with a great job, so we never know just how good he could be. But he's good if he can win at Michigan State, good everywhere he goes, kind of like a Mike Leach, right?
Yep. That's exactly right. Yeah. Our friends at New York Butcher Shop brings you our conversation today as we wind down another year of steak bets. Great Thanksgiving meal for LT that carried over through the weekend from New York Butcher?
Oh, look, I was eating it for lunch yesterday. That's one of the great things about Thanksgiving. If you've got that leftovers, I mean, it's something you can eat on 4 or 5 days. And so I was eating the squash casserole, the mac and cheese, the mashed potatoes, that great turkey. Also, if you want to get the finest and certified Angus prime beef steaks, premium pork chops, all natural chicken cut to order just for you. They've got chef-prepared entree side dishes, perfect dinner-to-go choices for you and your family, ready to heat at home. They've got a fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. 2 locations, New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Tyler Watts and Jim Dunaway on All Things Alabama. Watch Talk of Champions at Rollside Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanksgiving is here, and let the New York Butcher Shop be the place to get all of your holiday meal items. Their premium turkeys are fresh, free-range, and hormone-free. The New York Butcher Shop also has a wide selection of chef-prepared side items to help save you time in the kitchen. Pick up a bottle of wine, and your meal will be complete. Turkeys are selling fast, so place your order today. 2 locations to serve you, in Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Are you ready to make this holiday season one to remember? Legacy Credit Union is here to make your dreams come true with their lifestyle loans. Whether you need a little extra cash for gifts or you want to take that unforgettable holiday vacation, Legacy has the right loan for you. With affordable monthly payments, flexible terms, and absolutely no collateral required, Legacy Credit Union is your trusted partner for your stress-free holiday season. Apply in minutes. Go to LegacyCreditUnion.com to get the financial support you need to enjoy the holidays to the fullest. Again, LegacyCreditUnion.com.
Restrictions apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Hi, this is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. You're not average, and the New Balance Birmingham store has the shoes and apparel to perfectly match your unaverage self. If we were all shaped the same and had the same level of fitness, and if we all walked and ran exactly alike, well, then I guess an average shoe store selling average shoes would be just fine. But you deserve better. At the New Balance Birmingham store, our specialists will match you with a custom pair of New Balance shoes that fit you perfectly. Come see us at the New Balance Birmingham store. Your feet will thank you.
Give the gift of Daniel Moore art this holiday season with the 2024 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar. This year's calendar features collectors' most beloved Daniel Moore Alabama football moments, from the classic goal line stand to the Saban era 2nd and 26. Special offer for listeners only. Buy 2 calendars and get 1 free with code HOLIDAY at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hour number 2 includes Joel Klatt, who will be with us coming up in the next segment. LTD&B with you here after the Iron Bowl win by Alabama. Before LT tells us about Hemp Hill, a couple of news notes from yesterday's coaches' call on the SEC Championship. Brownie and I saw Jace McClellan on crutches in the Alabama locker room area post-game. Nick Saban confirming that McClellan is questionable, left foot injury. Doesn't know if he'll be able to play against Georgia. He obviously is RB1 there. But of any of the quarterback rooms, or excuse me, of any of the position rooms, the running back room seems to be pretty deep, right, guys?
Yeah, it does. I mean, now you're obviously Roydale Williams becomes your starter if McClellan cannot go. You get a little bit more out of Jam Miller, who's had a nice year.
And I personally believe he's the best at pass protection.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, and Justice Haynes, I guess the thing you worry about, I mean, Jace has been solid, Roydale's been solid, is maybe ball security in a big game.
Yeah, I mean, it's one turnover could decide this thing.
Yeah, to your point, Jason Rodell have played a lot of meaningful snaps, and the other guys have not.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, your hope is, maybe you can get a little bit out of McClellan. Maybe he's not 100%, but he's enough to get out there and give you,
last time
50% of the snaps.
2021.
Yep. Brian Robinson.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian Robinson. I mean, nobody expected that guy to go.
Yep.
And this game feels different, though. I think there's a lot of people that give Alabama a really good shot at winning this game. 2021, number was about the same. It was Georgia 6. Nobody gave Alabama a shot at winning that game.
Zero. I think the reason is because you had just sat there in Jordan-Hare Stadium or on TV and watched Alabama not be able to move the ball offensively against Auburn.
The offensive line got dominated.
Yeah, they
couldn't
terrible.
block.
They couldn't block. They were awful. You didn't watch that Saturday. Alabama moved it up and down the field Saturday. I mean, they outgained Auburn, what was it, about 100 yards or so?
Yeah, but still needed a miracle to win the game against what is now a 6-16.
I know, and I'm just saying, I think that's why there might be a different feeling is you didn't sit there and watch your offense not be able to do anything.
Yeah, if I would have told you guys that Alabama basically doubles them in total yards and they're +3 in turnovers, you think Alabama wins this game by 28?
Against Georgia?
No, against
Auburn, yeah.
Auburn.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Anything on what? This is why stats are for losers, or in this case, last-second winners. But when you look at the stat sheet, you're right. A lot of things were very positive for Alabama.
Yeah.
Well,
except run defense.
Though that's the one negative coming out of this game. But I will say, Georgia Tech. Now, I did not get to watch plain old-fashioned hate. So there could be a good explanation for this. But Georgia Tech had 200-some-odd yards on Georgia as well.
So many starters that are even a little bit banged up for Georgia did not play in this game.
Yeah, they rested a lot.
And Kirby said after, it wasn't because of the opponent we were playing.
Sure.
They just were not 100%, so we had to leave them out of the game.
It was typical Georgia. It really was.
Yeah.
It was the opponent they were playing. They sleptwalked through the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they never were in danger of losing that game. It ended up being a one-possession game. They were never in danger.
Yeah, it was 31-16 for quite a while, I believe. Yeah.
Till a late score.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers, soreness in his right knee. You can count on him playing. Tate Rutledge, a guard. Kirby himself said probably could have played the game. Ladd McConkey and Ra Thomas would be the two biggest question marks, I would say, for Georgia going into the SEC championship game coming up. Our coverage throughout the week there on the SEC championship from Atlanta will be over there again coming up this weekend. Tell us about Hemp Hill. We'll get to a little best and worst of the weekend and talk about some other stuff that went around in the nation this past weekend.
I don't know if you guys realize it is cold outside.
Yeah,
I think the high is 50 today. The weather is definitely changing. You need to make sure that unit can keep up with everything that is going on. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure that unit is keeping up with this changing weather. They are a locally owned and operated independent Trane dealer team, and the team can service all makes and models for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Trusted name, Birmingham is trusted since 1954. Call 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
NH3425 only gives you a best, the Iron Bowl, and the Missouri Barstool Star Wars video. No earthly idea what he means by that. I have not seen it. Have you seen it, Jen?
I have not seen that. I did see Friday when Missouri handed it to Arkansas. And
well, I felt like Hunter Yurachek might have been out a bit early on that vote of confidence for Sam Pittman after watching that game.
Because it did have the impression that they were not Now they were not engaged in playing that game.
They did lose KJ Jefferson early in that game.
They did.
But still, Missouri.
That was just ass whipping.
It was. And
so Missouri's in line if everything is expected to hold the way it is when the playoff selections come out Tuesday night and then for the rest of the field later on. Missouri's in place to go to a New Year's Six bowl game. That's an amazing season.
Yeah. I would put them in before I'd put Ole Miss.
Well, right now that's where they are. Yeah. Ole Miss is one notch out of it right now.
Jeremy's best of the weekend. Florida State beating Florida. His worst of the weekend, Auburn's defense on 4th and 31. You're going to see a little bit of that. Yeah.
So what was his best? Florida State beating Florida?
Florida State beating Florida, and you got to give credit to Florida State. That was a fight for them with their backup quarterback, and Florida. It was a battle of backups. Florida starting their backup as well, but Florida State
12-0 when you told me hey, Florida's up 12-0 Dunaway, and I was like, wow.
And Florida did not score again. I don't think, did they?
They did. I got another field goal.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a hard fought win.
Yeah, Florida State's defense showed up, and Rodemaker, ended up playing well, got a little comfortable as the game went on. Benson was the difference running the football for Florida State. It's going to be fascinating because Florida State, Louisville coming off just a devastating loss against Kentucky.
Yeah, you saw that one coming. That was your upset.
Where Devin Leary threw one of the worst picks I have ever seen. I know you guys were in Auburn, so you probably didn't see it.
Oh, I've seen it, yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
I thought he handed them the game at that point.
I think it's interesting to see what the committee does tomorrow night with Louisville.
Okay, with Louisville.
Yeah, with Louisville. And I guess with Florida State, too. They moved them out, and obviously it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Michigan. We got a long time to talk about that. But I think with Louisville as well, because that's going to be Florida State's next game, and they could need an impressive win. Charles, best, Iron Bowl, worst, another year with no balls in the bucket. Sorry, Charles. You got another chance. We're doing it this week, right?
Oh, no, you had to have
one in?
Yeah, you got to be a ball in the bucket to get to the championship round this week. So
Rusty's best of the weekend, Nightmare and Jordan Hare. His worst, no upsets or chaos. That is your you've been telling us all year long there's going to be no chaos, guys.
But my goodness, every week we've been right on the cliff of falling off, and this week Georgia 31-23, not as close as the score indicated, but it was Washington 24, Washington State 21. A 42-yard field goal at the end to keep it from going to overtime. And then Florida State, 24-15. That was a fight. There was potential chaos out there that just didn't happen.
Sharkbait's worst is Bill Belichick. If you need a kicker to break the 10-point barrier, you have bigger issues than your kicker. I think we've reached the end of the road of Mac Jones in New England. Perhaps he'll latch on somewhere else, but it looks like they're going to go Bailey Zappi the rest of the year. And we'll probably reach the end of the road for Bill Belichick.
I think so, too. And it's sad that this is his last page of his New England memoir.
It's an ugly one.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling the end of it's going to be even uglier. Like the season's going to be ugly, and it just feels like this is not going to be a good.
And this is one of those things. We never talk about Jerry Rice with the Seahawks. We don't talk about Emmitt Smith with the Cardinals. I think we will talk about the end days for Bill Belichick. If he would have gone out at the same time Tom Brady did, you'd still be like, is it Brady or Belichick? And I think if you polled people, what would it be, 95 to 5% probably Tom Brady now?
No, now it would be,
I think it was 50-50 when they split, and now you look back, you're like,
that was all Brady.
Man.
Yeah. I don't think it's all Brady, but it's hard to argue it wasn't more Brady as you've looked at Belichick without him, obviously. Michael says his best. He was at the team hotel Friday night for Alabama, and he got all the next round guests to sign a next round hat. And he said, Obama got the win, so there's no worse. And he sent us the photos. Cool photo.
Really amazing. He he drove over to Montgomery to be at the team hotel and was there and tried with a next round hat and accomplished getting all three of them to sign the hat. And just talked about how nice the guys were, and when he said he was a next round viewer, and how they talked about the show and got the signature there. I was blown away.
That's cool. I hadn't seen this.
Yeah. I was blown away by the wardrobe our guys have on the road.
We're paying them.
The Jalen Milroe knee-length coat was spectacular. Terrion looked fantastic as well. Just it's just a good look.
BD, Thrasher, best Herbie and Fowler reaction to the Iron Bowl. Don't know if everyone has seen that video. It was in the booth. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did see it.
How does that make you feel if you're an Auburn fan?
It's just excitement.
Yeah, I think it's just excitement. You just don't see that, and especially on a stage like that.
So to y'all's point, because some people would take it as, they're Alabama guys cheering against Auburn. They were just cheering for the craziness of the
if you
play.
flip it around, if it's Auburn 4th and 31 and they beat Alabama on that play, it's the exact same reaction.
If I had their video of them watching the kick six, I bet it's equally as crazy.
Right.
I thought part of the reaction, too, was those guys knowing, hey, next year, you know where we are for that game?
We get to do the Iron Bowl.
We're in that TV booth for that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's part of the reaction because they were Florida State.
I will tell
Actually,
you,
2 years
Battle
before
of
they're in-
Backups.
2 years before they're in that booth. Next year.
Oh, that's true. Well,
they'll be
in the Iron Bowl
Tuscaloosa
booth.
for
Yeah.
This will be. We are going to have some major controversy. I mean, this is what we'll be talking about in a week
in the playoff.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into that after I tell you about our friends at Wayne's. As the weather cools down, stop mice, bed bugs, and other rodents from coming inside the house by using our friends at Wayne's. 50 years of great service. You can call our friends at Wayne's. Call 866-WAYNES-1, 866-WAYNES-1 to gift yourself a safe and pest-free home. Sign up for any of the reoccurring services with Wayne's, and because you're a Next Round viewer, you can save $50 off. $50 off 50 years of Wayne's. Don't let mice and rats and other things ruin your holiday celebrations. Be pest-free this holiday with our friends at Wayne's. Call 866-WAYNES-1 or go online to callwaynes.com. Now, you're talking about the fact that this is going to be, in my opinion, the first time we'll leave out a team, maybe two, that's good enough to win the national championship.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think is going to happen. Michigan's obviously going to win. So Michigan is in. I think Oregon is going to win. I think Oregon's going to get left out.
I agree.
Really?
Yep.
I agree.
A lot of people are billing that, Brown, as a play-in game.
I don't think it is at all.
I think it is for Washington.
I'm not 100% it is for Washington. I don't think it is for Oregon. I think Oregon just does not have a resume to stand on. They do not have a single good win.
One top 25 win in Oregon State. They'll stay in there.
Yep.
And then Washington, which will be a top 5 win.
Yep. So you just don't really have a resume to stand on in comparison to the other teams around you. You're a one-loss team, so you don't have an undefeated to stand on. Oregon does not have a good case to stand on. So I think they're out.
Michigan's in. Texas is going to beat Oak State. I think Texas is in.
I would agree with you there.
Florida State, I don't know if they're going to win the game or not. I think it's going to be really tight.
Even if they do, I don't think they're in.
Just real quick.
Okay.
So you're saying Texas is in?
I am saying
because
that,
they
yes.
beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa.
I think it's because of a lot of things, but that is going to be their best win. Yes.
What are their other good wins? What are their other good wins compared to Oregon? Oregon's going to have a higher ranked win over Washington when it's all said and done.
I mean, Texas is going to have Oklahoma State, which is going to be ranked. They might not be ranked after they beat them, though.
Where's Kansas State right now?
They're about to be out. They just lost to Iowa State over the weekend.
Yeah, bad loss.
Well, let's let him finish before you start busting this down.
I'm just
if
saying,
I could just do the whole thing before you start tearing it apart, please. We haven't built the house.
I didn't want to go Jenga on you here,
Okay,
but I
we haven't built the
pulled
house.
one out there. That
Okay.
You go Texas over Oregon.
I would go Texas over Oregon.
Okay, so we know Michigan's in.
Easy.
We know Georgia's in if they beat Alabama.
Easy, not even a discussion.
Now, really,
should be in if they lose.
Yeah, the interesting thing is if they lose, Georgia should be in.
Okay, well, let's come back to that one. Let's.
Okay, so
let's have them losing because it's easy if they're in. So let's let Georgia lose.
Okay, so let Georgia lose.
Alabama is in.
You're building yourself a case now that
What?
you're not going to be able to work. You're tying
No,
yourself.
I'm fine with this.
You're going to tie yourself into a knot if you got Texas in already.
And Alabama is in too.
And Alabama's in
and
already.
Michigan is in.
And
So I only need
Michigan's
one more
already.
spot. So give me one more spot.
Okay, so we have 7 teams fighting for 4 spots.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
Again.
The one I can guarantee
Ohio
is Michigan.
State is out.
Ohio State is out.
100% out. Yeah.
ESPN's playoff probability says they still got 54% to
Well,
make it.
I mean, look,
Stupid probability. I don't know why ESPN even does it. They don't make sense.
if this happened, if Georgia was to win, if Oregon was to win, if Iowa was, well, not Iowa. I don't want to say Iowa. If Oklahoma State was to win, Ohio State could get in. It would take massive upsets.
Yeah.
Go back to your original scenario so Brown
Yeah,
can
I'm going
finish
to
up
take
here.
them out. Okay, so we know Michigan's in, right?
100%.
That is the only one that I can guarantee you is in.
I'm with you.
I feel like Texas is going to be in because I think they're going to beat Oklahoma State soundly.
I lean Texas. Okay.
Yeah, so that's 2 right there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that minus the 14.5, 15-point favorite, that win's going to move the needle on you guys over
Can
Oklahoma
we
State.
just finish before you? Every time we get to Texas, you start you slow this down.
Then we've got Florida State. Let's say they win. They're
out.
sitting there.
They're out. Go ahead.
I think they're
So,
sitting there.
unbeaten, 13-0, Power 5 conference champion.
Yep.
You're going to leave them out.
Yep, I am.
Oregon beats Washington.
This doesn't lock them in. Keep going.
Alabama beats Georgia.
Alabama is in if they beat Georgia. They are not, and I'll say it again. I think we got 2 or 3 clean reads on this. Jim has said the same thing. The SEC champion is not getting left out of the college football playoff.
Look, I don't know. I mean, I think Alabama's got a shot. They can't play like they played Saturday.
It doesn't matter how they play, just as long as they win the game. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, if they play like they did this past Saturday, they're not going to beat Georgia.
You're absolutely right.
But if they win that game, in my opinion, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, and then whoever else.
Yeah, you've gone a bridge too far with me for Georgia.
How you could leave Georgia out makes no sense.
Because they're not a conference champion. You're not going to – I just don't think you leave Georgia out. Now, look,
I would put Oregon in front of Georgia?
I wouldn't, but I think the committee will.
Oh, I don't think they will.
Yeah. They don't want to have to your only argument for Georgia is they're two-time defending national champion and they won all these games in a row.
No, their resume, Brown, would be
it's a good resume.
Win over number 9, massive win over number 12.
Yeah, it's the best resume of any one-loss team.
Massive win on a Tennessee team that will not fall out now. There's no way Tennessee's going to be unranked.
No, I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah.
So, I mean,
no. I don't think they got a bad resume. I'm just saying, not being this is the wrong year to not be a conference champion.
Okay, let's play out just based on Vegas odds what they say is going to happen, okay? Georgia wins, Michigan wins, Oregon wins, Florida State wins, Texas wins.
Yeah.
Florida State out.
Okay, so we know Georgia and Michigan are in, both undefeated.
So with those
so it comes down to Florida State, Oregon, and Texas.
All the favorites, you're saying Florida State's out.
Yeah.
I think Oregon's out.
I think I'd put Oregon in front of Florida State.
If all the favorites win, Georgia's in, Michigan's in, Florida State's in, and then the discussion becomes the one losses.
I think Oregon probably is in. And this is the reason being, Oregon's going to beat undefeated Washington. Florida State needed Louisville to win that game.
And Florida State's best win is still going to be LSU. And I know Oregon hasn't done anything. Oregon is there on eye test alone. That is the only thing that has Oregon there. Like, I think the committee almost counts the Washington loss as a win for them. Like, the way they have treated them, I think they almost, it's like they beat Washington. But even on eye test, they're going to have beat Washington, and you're going to look at FSU's resume, and you're going to say,
well, they're going to have 3 top 25 wins. They're going to have Clemson. They didn't play NC State, did they? If they did, NC State's going to be ranked.
No.
LSU, they beat them, and they beat Louisville in your scenario.
Listen,
they're going to have 4 basically top 25 wins.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense that Georgia could play Alabama, lose to Alabama, and you said we thought they were the best team in the nation, but now they're the 5th best team in the nation. That doesn't make sense. I agree with you. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
But
I don't think the committee leaves them out.
It's the way these things are operated. They don't make sense.
Georgia will be the best one-loss team.
I know, but these things don't make sense. It's why they put in criteria.
No, that's why they made the criteria can say 18 different things.
That's what I'm saying.
So they can manipulate.
It's why they put in criteria. They didn't want to do this and say, we're just going to go on the eye test. We watch football just like the rest of you. We're going to put in what we think are the 4 best teams. Criteria be damned. We're putting in what we think are the 4 best teams.
I think Lunsford's scenario is very interesting.
Okay, we got to get to Joel Klatt next. Let's get back into this discussion, and we'll have it all the rest of the week, too. Klatt's coming up. We'll react to Michigan's win over Ohio State, and where a game, I don't know about you guys, I thought Ryan Day was uber conservative. Don't know why he does it every year against Michigan all of a sudden. Show being brought to you by our friends at Odie's LT.
Odie's 2 locations now, the original in Crestline, one in Homewood right there at the corner of Broadway and Oxmoor Road. Great food from our friend Rodney Davis. He's been doing it for more than 3 decades. Award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, including that Diablo sandwich. Also chili this time of year. Make sure you check that out with a little grilled cheese on the side. Ice cold beer buckets full of Bud Light. Get into one of those 2 locations, Birmingham Institution, Odie's Tavern.
And speaking of Bud Light game night this week, we're at Crestwood Tavern back out there. Our second visit there. Had a great time earlier in the year when it's hot. We get the chilly Crestwood Tavern this week. Should be a lot of fun. Bud Light game night this Thursday, 5 to 7. Joel Klatt's next.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of peace of mind with a credit card from Legacy Credit Union. Why risk shopping with cash when you can enjoy the safety and convenience of shopping with their contactless credit card? With a Legacy credit card, you can enjoy incredible perks like rates as low as 8.9% APR, no annual fees, and no balance transfer fees. But that's not all. Earn fantastic rewards for travel and merchandise through Scoreboard Rewards. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com to make your holiday shopping not just safer, but smarter. APR and annual percentage rates. Certain restrictions may apply. Subject to approval. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Ryan Brown here for the Next Round with a question for you. Are you on the bandwagon yet? Bandwagon wants to invite you to one of their 3 retail locations in Birmingham for all your holiday shopping. Bandwagon has the top brands in sporting goods, athleisure, and lifestyle apparel. You can check your entire family off the list at Bandwagon with brands like Task, Bird Dog, and Varley, plus the best in sports equipment. Visit the Bandwagon locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trussville, or online, bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Tom Luganville here for Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear. For great holiday shopping for the whole family, this place is a must. Jack's carries all the name brands in boots, hats, and apparel, including the Kynes Ranch brand, as seen on Yellowstone. You might not look like Kevin Costner, but you can dress like him. Jack's also has the only air yacht shop within a shop in the state of Alabama. Come see us every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just look for the big red building off I-65, exit 304 in Coleman.
Joel Klatt will get into the Michigan-Ohio State game and a lot more with Klatt in just a second. I want to remind you, our friends at Legacy, proud supporters of UAB football and basketball, they have engaged checking out there for you. No minimum balance fees ever. You get paid 2 days early with direct deposit. You can check out those terms and everything great about engaged checking right there at legacycreditunion.com. Also, the great Legacy credit card, which gives you secure comfort on your purchases this holiday season, and also personal loans. If you want to take that dream vacation or buy some special presents this holiday season, you can get all of that information at legacycreditunion.com. Legacycreditunion.com, federally insured by the NCUA. All right, coaching carousel on the bad side. As we wait on Klatt to join us. Dana Holgerson got fired at Houston. No surprise there. Tom Allen out at Indiana. Not surprised with that. I am surprised that his buyout was $15.5 million.
I am surprised. Yeah. I remember reading back when he was thought to be on the hot seat last year that I think it was 20 last year and it had dropped. I think it was almost a guaranteed contract after he had that one good year. He's got excellent agents, excellent representation. We know them very well. And they did a great job for him. They had a really good season. Indiana wanted to commit to him in the future, and they said, here's how you commit to the guy. And, if it doesn't work out.
We never thought we'd really see $10 million coaches. I never thought we would see buyouts like this.
At a place like Indiana football,
yeah.
$15.5 million. We wouldn't blink at that in the SEC anymore.
No. I mean, Jimbo Fisher has Gus set the bar.
Right.
Then Jimbo Fisher took it up, and now other schools are looking around saying, $15 million, it's not much.
Yeah, what's $20 million in a buyout?
And I thought, look, the last 4 years have not been good. It's like, ever since the pandemic, things turned the wrong way at Indiana.
I heard John Gruden's name mentioned for that
he's
job.
apparently got a connection with a power booster there.
Is he building a house there like he used to build in Knoxville?
He's the biggest landowner in Bloomington. He used to be that in Knoxville, too. That was Bruce Feldman reporting that, so I do put a lot of credence in that. I don't think it's just a rumor. All right, Joel Klatt is with us now. Fox, they've got the Big Ten championship game, Michigan and Iowa. That is coming up on Fox over the weekend. He joins us each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. What is up, Klatt? How are you today?
I'm good. I got through the game, and about 5 hours after the game, my immune system just gave out. It was like, enough. So pretty under the weather yesterday and today. So forgive me for the cough drop and the voice.
Wait. Is this you setting the table for not making a trip to call Michigan's drilling of Iowa this weekend? You're going to be at the game, though, right?
Oh, no. I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there. In fact, it's perfect timing in that regard. It's like you get sick right after the game. I've got a whole week to get back. I'll be fine. It should be great.
It's like a well-planned pregnancy. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's right.
Much like that, yes. So let's go back to your game Saturday before we look at everything else. Ohio State and Michigan went. There was the unknown about not having Harbaugh there. I don't guess it ever really reared its head. I mean, there was I didn't see a time where Sharon Moore was kind of feet to the fire, having to make a critical decision in that game that I remember.
Well, he made a few, and like let's give credit where it's due. Obviously, Sharon has handled this incredible.
Yes.
Think about his stock now. The fact that his name should be up for every opening that is currently opening. Period. Sharon Moore is one of the bright, best young coaches I've ever been around. He has handled this incredibly well. Think about the adjustment in game that he made against Penn State as the acting head coach, getting him through the Maryland game, a couple of critical decisions in that game when you knew it was going to be a sandwich game where they were going to be looking ahead. It was an emotional win the previous week. They have just the human distraction of a coach being fired. He navigates through that game. Then to coach in this game, the enormity of it, legacy's on the line. And he coached like a guy with no scar tissue in this game. Let's face it. So he goes for it 3 times on 4th down. Now, to be fair, if you're Michigan, you've got Blake Corum, you're going to go for it on those 4th downs. I think it would have been more surprising if they didn't go for it. It was 4th and goal inside the 1. And then twice on successive series of downs, they went for 4th and 1, and then for 4th and 1 en route to a touchdown. What I find more interesting to talk about, rather than just the decisions to go or not go, which is where we generally sit as a fan base or as we evaluate it, guys, we talk about it. And I've talked to Dan Lanning about this at length. It's just part of the decision to go for it. The real brilliance is what's your plan and what do you execute in those situations, right? Lanning and I and Will Stein had a conversation before the Utah game, and we talked all about the end of the Washington game, both the end of the half and the end of the Washington game. Will Stein, the offensive coordinator for Oregon, said the failure was on him, not on Dan's decision to go. It was on him because he called the wrong play and they didn't execute it either time. And we've talked about this a little bit. Remember, if you think back all the way, I said, why sprint out? You're cutting off half the field. Your whole expertise is the veteran quarterback. Let him use the whole field. Okay, so now let's spin forward. It's 4th and 1. I think it's the plus side of the 50. I think they're on like the 42-yard line, maybe the 39-yard line, somewhere around there. They go for it on 4th down. Okay, they get into this double tight set with the little tight ends and kind of an off-the-ball wing position. Colston Loveland is on the right side. Blake Corum is on the right side. So the back is offset, side saddle, to Colston Loveland's side on the 1st, 3rd down. They all look over. And then it's like, change the play. Well, because that was the wide side of the field, the corner to that side, Denzel Burke, and the safety to that side, Sonny Styles, had some width on the formation. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so they thought to themselves, we better check this. So they move Blake over to the short side of the field. They run the dive, and they get it. They're really good at that, obviously. Okay, so now 3 plays later, they're in the same situation. It's 4th and 1 again. 1st, 2nd, 3rd down, 4th and 1. Here we go. What do? Well, now it's on the right hash. They get into the exact same set. Back offset to Colston Loveland, who's in that offset little wingback position. They look over the sideline. Now, because it's the right hash and not the wide side of the field, the defense is condensed and it's tight to that side of the formation. These are things that I wish I could get into to the game, but it just takes too long. And they see that and they stick with it, which is the play action Colston Loveland into the flat. Okay, so he had a plan for those 4th downs. Those were double play calls. We're going to look over which one do we want to run based on leverage of the defense. So his plan in those fourth downs, I was more impressed with than even the decisions to go for it in the first place. Again, Sharon Moore should be up and a candidate for every job in the country. And if Jim flirts or even goes to the NFL, that's your next head coach at the University of Michigan, hands down.
Yeah, and in this game with everything on the line, he puts in a freshman quarterback who has a successful long run. He throws a halfback pass. Meanwhile, on the other sidelines, Ryan Day, all of a sudden in this game, it seems like he's coaching with one hand tied behind his back. He doesn't seem to be the aggressor anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I equated it to scar tissue a little bit earlier. You know, Sharon Moore has zero scar tissue from this game. He's never sat in a press conference as the head coach and had to deal with a loss in this game. In fact, he's never even had to deal with it as a coordinator. You know, so Ryan Day has that scar tissue. And I would just say this, like, Ryan, you guys know, Ryan's a great coach, obviously. Right. 89 win percentage. Guy is a freaking great coach. He got put into situations that were less obvious than what Sharon's situations were. So his situations, second drive of the game, it's 4th and 1, but it's at their own 45. So now it's the minus side of the 50. It's the second possession of the game. It's the two best scoring defenses in America. Can't go for that. Can't go for that because you might not even, if that's a turnover, and Saban has talked about this, this is not about analytics. I get it. Like, the percentages might be with you to get the first down, but there is a chance you don't, which is basically a turnover. And I don't know if Michigan even needs a first down to be in scoring territory. So not only is it a turnover, it's probably points the other direction. That is a big risk in the second series of the game. So it's not as cut and dry as the decisions that Michigan had. I don't know how much trust he has in his quarterback. He's kind of played around his quarterback for a large part of the season. And at the end of the half, that's the other point that people are talking about. It's 4th and 2. It's the Michigan 34. It's going to be a 52-yard field goal, which is a career long for their kicker. And he settles for the field goal, settles for a career long. It's a tough decision. And what he had to figure out is in what way am I increasing my yards for or odds for a kick by going for this? Let's say I risk it, okay? And I go for it and get it. Great. But I had to risk the 4th down and leave them some time where one completion might put them in field goal range. And what advantage am I gaining by that? Is it 4% make percentage? You know, it's kind of like the difference between a guy firing it, 30 feet from the stick versus 26 feet from the stick in golf. It's like, it's still a low percentage putt. So he had to make a decision of like, well, how many cracks at this am I going to get? Am I going to get the first down and take a couple shots? In hindsight, I think he should have gone for it. Had a timeout in his back pocket, take a couple shots with Marvin Harrison Jr. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr., so take a couple shots with him. And again, I don't know how much. I don't want to, I think that there was some management around Kyle McCord after the early interception. But certainly not as clear or plain as day decisions as what Michigan had. But yeah, you can certainly look at those and say that he may have coached a little tight. May have coached for a defensive-oriented game rather than an offensive-oriented game. And then here's another one, just like a game within the game. And again, this is where I wish I had so much more time during the broadcast. So once Ryan decides he's going to kick it, he does the smart thing by putting the pressure on Sharon Moore by not taking his timeout yet. So now he's going to take it under 4 seconds so that the kick ends the half. So then Sharon has to make a decision. Do I want a little bit of time to have a kickoff and a couple shots at getting in field goal range with my offense? Or do I want to save my timeout to ice a kicker who's about to try a career long? Because you can't take both. Right. You can't take the back-to-back timeouts. Well, Sharon then decides, no, I'm going to take my timeout as an ice timeout. Pays off beautifully. And, the first kick is made, second kick is missed, and Ohio State doesn't get points. And that's basically the difference in the game. When you look at it, coming down the stretch, the interception led to a touchdown, the missed kick, and there you go.
On the other side of the situation, the quarterback controversy or conversation coming into this game was after Penn State and Maryland, J.J. McCarthy. Is he hurt? Do they not, have confidence in him? That 22-yard touchdown throw to Roman Wilson was one of the best throws, if not the best throw that I saw all weekend. That was an NFL throw in the tightest of windows. He was only asked to throw the ball 20 times. He completes 16 of them. I just wish we got to see more J.J. McCarthy.
Well, this is why I do think that this team is better suited for a postseason run than they have been either of the last 2 years, because I do think they're more balanced. Like they can throw it. They can run it when they want to. They can throw it when they want to. The throw to Roman Wilson was spectacular, right in between Malik Hartford, the freshman safety, and Denzel Burke, the corner, on that over route. And what's fascinating is I've gone back and watched the film. Malik Hartford is in a whole safety kind of squat position. He's like a jump safety, and his eyes are in the backfield the entire time. And then right before McCarthy throws it, he kind of turns to look up the crossing route, and that's when his head kind of turns. And right when his head turns, I don't know if JJ saw his head turn or he got fortunate because of the head turn, one of the two. But if he doesn't turn his head, JJ throws it right to him. But because he turns his head, he doesn't see the ball, and it whizzes right past his head, and it winds up for a touchdown. It was an incredible play, a great throw. They've got a really good flex tight end in Colston Loveland that they were able to get loose a couple of times. And then they did what Michigan does late in the game, and they kind of squeezed the boa constrictor analogy that I've talked about. I moved Michigan back up to number 1 in the country because that was a rugged game, and that's, I think, the best win, maybe other than Texas, in the country so far this season. And they've been the most consistent and most dominant team in the country. Now, you can make an argument that Georgia has a higher ceiling, and I would agree with that. When Georgia wants to be great, they're great, and no one can beat them if they play their best. But they don't play there all the time. Last weekend was, again, evidence of that against Georgia Tech. Whereas while Michigan's ceiling might be lower, they're at or near it more often than Georgia is at or near their ceiling.
All right, he is Joel Klatt. Is brought to you each week by MyBookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND when you sign on. 50% deposit match up to $1,000 with code NEXTROUND when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. I know you have to travel a lot on Saturday, so you might not get to see the 2:30 games. I'm curious if you were watching 4th and 31 live, if you saw it when you landed, your reaction to Alabama's Iron Bowl win.
What about that defensive call at the end? Oh
my gosh. Okay, so thoughts on both.
All right.
Okay, one, I was not watching live, so I had to watch it back. And when I saw it on Gamecast on the flight, I'm like, I'm like, what in the world? First of all, it goes from 1st and goal from the 7 with over a minute left. And I'm like, oh yeah, Bama, it's like, oh yeah, for sure. Well, Bama's going to win, nice drive, got down there. Well done. And then watching on Gamecast, it going from, what was it, like 2nd and 8, they lose a yard maybe on 1st down, I believe. And then all of a sudden it's like taking a while. And I'm like, oh, okay, they scored. You know how Gamecast, it kind of takes a while if something happens. And then all of a sudden it's like 3rd and 28. I was like, what happened? What is going on? And people on the plane are looking at me. I'm freaking out. Then all of a sudden it's 4th and 31. I'm like, what did they across the line? So then they complete it. I'm like, this is crazy. So immediately when we land, I go back and I watch it. And okay, here are my thoughts. They got incredibly fortunate. I mean, that's basically a Hail Mary throw, right? It's not like he was open. There was no structure to the route concept. It's like, okay, my guy is going to be better than yours. Here we go. My kids play a game called 3 Flags Up. It used to be the old 500 when we were kids, where you just throw it up and you yell a number and you say like, 200, and you throw it up. Now it's 3 flags up. You just keep throwing until someone gets 3 flags, and then they get to be the quarterback. That was a 3 flags up throw. It really was. And you got to credit. I mean, what and then an incredible adjustment to kind of like find space. So you wiggle, you create the space, and then jump back. That was tremendous. The throw to be catchable and yet not short. Great throw from Milroe. That's going to get overlooked, obviously, but that was a tremendous throw because that's a small window where it's uncatchable or short, and the game is over either way. You got to throw it perfectly, and he did. And then we get to the defensive call, which was horrific.
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing? How do guys make millions of dollars and call a defense like that? They rush to with a spy?
I know.
A spy for what? All right, guys. The only guy that had a one-on-one pass rushing situation was like this.
Yeah.
Just like backing up. And I'm thinking to myself, the one thing that you don't want, you can say like, we want to keep him in the pocket. See, I disagree. I totally disagree. When you're in a situation like that, you want the quarterback rolling to his offhand because it cuts off half the field. You're going to effectively decrease the amount of field you have to cover if you force the quarterback out to his offhand. So if you're going to rush 3, that's fine. But the third rusher has to overload towards his throwing hand in order to flush him out. They flushed him out on 3rd down, and you see the result of that. Like, you want him out of the pocket. You want to decrease the effective area that you have to cover as a team. That was a horrendous defensive call. Horrendous. They should have learned their lesson on 3rd down because he had forever to throw. They didn't. Called the same, if not wackier defense on 4th down with a spy. Why are you spying? Well, you're going to worried that he's going to run it in from 31 yards out when you've got over half your defense standing at the goal line? What? These guys make millions of dollars to do this. What? How is?
I personally think the spy was there to try to lure an Alabama offensive lineman into an ineligible receiver downfield.
Well, it didn't work.
It did not work. It did not.
I have never believed that you've got like this SEC bias that a lot of people believe. Look, 2 years ago, we saw a similar situation. Nobody believed Bama could beat Georgia. They were a 6-point underdog. They're 5.5-point underdogs here. But if I'm on that committee and Alabama wins a one-possession game, both Alabama and Georgia are in this college football playoff.
I think it depends. There's going to be a lot of teams vying for it. I'll put it this way. I think that you can have a really great debate between Bama and Oregon, Bama and even an undefeated FSU. I do not think that Bama wins or should win a debate against Texas, right? And I think that that's reasonable. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree with that.
Yes.
I mean, look, head-to-head's got to mean something. They beat them by double digits in Tuscaloosa. I know they're playing differently right now, but I would have Texas in front of Alabama, but it would be Michigan, Texas, Alabama, Georgia. Unless Washington wins.
Yeah, and we'll see. Again, I think Bama, needs something to play out. The one that and I hate that I have this feeling, but it's true. I've been a guy that has advocated for most deserving. And that being said, Florida State is not even close to the rest of the top teams in the country right now without Jordan Travis. They're not a top 4 team. So even if they win, I think Georgia would be better even if they lost. Alabama is better. Texas is better if they win. Oregon's better if they win. Washington's better even if they lose. And so that's the one that I'm most interested to see how the committee ranks them, in particular this Tuesday, although as we know, going all the way back through the years, wacky things can happen from this ranking toward and then what we actually get in the final rankings. I think that there's a chance that you could get 2 SEC teams in, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. Georgia is clearly a team that at their top end is the best in the country. If they lose, do you really want to keep Georgia at home after a 29-game win streak and 2 straight national championships because they lose to Alabama in a conference championship game and in a neutral site, even though it's close to there? No, I don't want to keep Georgia out in that regard. I think the one that's fair to debate is if it comes down to Alabama or Texas, that's where I would just make the argument that the game earlier in the season has to mean something. And you've got to honor that Texas beat that specific team in their house by double digits.
All right, he is Joel Klatt. You will see him on the call of that Michigan-Iowa Big Ten Championship game on Fox from Indianapolis. Thank you very much, Ty, for the time, Klatt. Get to feeling better, man. Can't wait to see you Saturday.
I appreciate you guys. Have a great week, okay?
All right, buddy. You too. Take care. Klatt with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He's presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Code next round for that 50% deposit match up to $1,000 when you use code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag.
And also by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Boy, it is time to take advantage of Woodhouse and their great offer they have this holiday season.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, a lot of guys like to procrastinate, wait around, last-minute gifts. This is an easy gift right now. If you're sitting at work, you're sitting at home listening to us, all you got to do is go online, go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can order a gift card right there 24/7. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Fantastic place located at the Summit Shopping Centers. Go see Stuart and that fine staff. Tell them the next round sent you.
RTD4 in the chat room says, as an Alabama fan, he agrees with Klatt about the Texas situation that plays out. Our friends at Alabama Power, their new mobile app puts the power in your hands, whether it comes with payments or account adjustments, or maybe when the power is going to be restored in your area. Download the mobile app today by searching Alabama Power in your app store or visit alabamapower.com/mobile app, alabamapower.com/mobile app.
Unlocked with Fox Sports' Brock Heward and Lance Taylor weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
This hour brought to you by Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear, the perfect place for all your holiday shopping. We are easy to find just off of I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. Just look for the big red building.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino 7 days of giveaways is going on now. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. That's right, Birmingham Racecourse Casino is giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. There's always more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap. Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
What would happen if Santa came down your chimney and discovered fire damage in your home? What if he came down the chimney and discovered a wet floor? Santa's elves can't clean it up. You would have a lot of unhappy children Christmas morning. If that happens, contact DryTech Water Restoration immediately and make sure your children have a Merry Christmas. DryTech can clean up the mess and get in touch with your insurance company. Call DryTech 205-637-0143 and make sure your holidays are safe and happy. Happy holidays to all from DryTech Water Restoration. This holiday season, give the gift of peace and security to your home with $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control Services. As the weather cools down, stop mice, bed bugs, and rodents before they come in. Call 866-WAYNES1 to gift yourself a safe and pest-free home. Sign up for any recurring service with Wayne's and save $50 off. Don't let mice and rats be uninvited guests to your holiday celebrations. Get a pest-free holiday and save $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control Services when you call 866-WAYNES1.
great, man. I love it when Klatt says something that has us debating all the way down to the bathroom and all the way back, and even Forrester getting fired up. Forrester, hot take from Forrester, back row, please, Rockstar. Forrester, what's your take on the Atlantic Coast Conference champion Florida State if they're unbeaten? Where are they, in the playoffs or out?
I don't see any way they get left out if they're a 13-0 conference champion. Power 5.
They just beat a quarterback, and they were down double digits, that played worse than Peyton Thorne and Max Brown. Florida State they need help. I mean, it's hard to say that. They need help to get in. But if there is any chaos at all, then I would say Louisville is the team that will knock off Florida State. I had an interesting scenario, and I don't know how you guys feel about this. I really believe that Texas wins, Texas is in it.
Okay.
Michigan's going to be in.
Okay.
And I think if Alabama beats Georgia, I think that's your 4 teams. I think both Alabama and Georgia get in. But if that does happen, you have to drop Georgia to 4, right? Mm-hmm. So does that mean Michigan, after just dying to play for a national championship, has got to play Georgia in round number 1?
You got to beat them sometime.
But do you think they would do that and have the rematch of Alabama-Texas, or would they rather go on and have Alabama-Georgia?
Hell, I don't know. It's a great question.
Greg is standing by. Let's get to him after Brownie tells us about our friends at Bandwagon, local sports stores right here. A few of them, they're just fantastic folks. You walk in, you can get a glove for the kid, you can get cleats, you can get bats. You can get sportswear and stuff like that. Just blown away when I walked into Bandwagon the first time.
Yeah, they got great locations like Homewood, Trustville, and in Cahaba Heights. You can see more at bandwagonsports.com. The thing that jumps out at me most is your local high school teams. They've got those logos in those communities on high-end stuff. A lot of times you can find logoed stuff, but it's just not the quality that you would want. High-end brands that have those logos on there, and they're tearing it up. It is the talk of the community in these communities. You need to go see it for yourself. Bandwagonsports.com. That is bandwagonsports.com to see more information, or just go in their store and look around. Take care of that whole Christmas list while you're in there. Cahaba Heights, Homewood, Trustville, bandwagonsports.com.
Jeremy says, I think he's a Florida State fan too. Knowles outscored Florida 24-3 after spotting them a 12-0 lead. That game really wasn't in doubt at the end. It seemed like Florida State was the better team. Greg from Pell City, owner of Storm Restoration Roofing, on the phone. Greg, how you doing today, man? What's your thoughts on the weekend?
Oh man, it was an awesome weekend. But let me ask you this: when we're talking about Alabama Texas deal, if these were the only 2 teams that were like vying to if they were together and they were vying for a playoff spot, and that was all we were concerned with, I would understand that. But then when we're using different criteria for different things, like let's say Alabama beats Georgia, and somehow it comes down to that Texas-Alabama deal, and they're like, well, which I don't think it's going to happen, but they put Texas in. Well, then you got Georgia. You could turn around and say, well, who's the better one-loss team between Georgia and Texas? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, go ahead.
Which, again, Greg, is what we were talking about earlier. Why they insist on having some sort of criteria baseline, because these committee members, they want to have an out to make decisions like that. And their out could potentially be, if they choose to do it, one's a conference champion, one's not. They were even. We give credence to conference champions rather than just say, we're going to look at this. We got 12 people, 14 people, 15 people in the room. We're going to use our eyeballs, and we're going to pick what we think are the 4 best teams. And we'll come out with a consensus. We'll fight, and we'll claw until we have a consensus of the 4 best teams. They don't want to do it that way, which is what would have benefited a conference champion.
And when it comes to the committee, I don't have a lot of guarantees, but I can guarantee you, if it comes down to 1-loss Texas conference champion, 1-loss Alabama conference champion, Texas is getting in.
I don't know if I'd guarantee that.
Yeah, and then what they really need to do to make it easy on themselves, say, look, guys, everybody can look at this right now and see we're going to have quite a decision we've got to make. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if things play out, they're going to play out. Georgia, Alabama, you guys are in a playoff right now. So they could go ahead and lay that groundwork, and say, make it a little easier on them.
Yeah.
This week, come out and say, hey, this is what, and look, Georgia, if you lose, I know you're deserving, but I'm just telling you, we got too much to go over, and that way you could kind of, because basically that's what it's going to end up being, the playoff.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, you got this Tuesday night, one more release before the games are played this week, and then you get the actual field announced on Sunday. You could have set the table, or you still could, but I don't know if they will. You could set the table by dropping Florida State You say, okay, this is the way we're perceiving Florida State now. Don't have them sitting there at 5 or at 4 or at 6. Go ahead and put these teams ahead of Florida State, saying evaluating these teams where they are now in our mind, Florida State is 7th. And you move Alabama ahead of them, and Oregon's ahead of them, and Texas ahead of them. You can also lay it out there that if you really truly believe Oregon's resume is not good enough, then Tuesday night's the time to go ahead and say, look, Oregon is 6th. They're behind Alabama, and they're behind Texas. You could go ahead and do this right now. You could go ahead and lay it out there where tomorrow night Ohio State is 8th, Florida State is 7th, Oregon stays 6th, Alabama's 5, Texas is 4, and work your way up that way if that's the way you want to do it.
Yeah, they're not going to move Bama up.
Yeah, they're not.
Hey,
Alabama's going to be 8th again. Yep.
Do I have time for one thing about the game?
Sure, go ahead.
This is what confused me with the offsides on Alabama, because we run this actually on our team. When we've got 2 guys that will go in motion, but whenever somebody jumps, we tell our offensive line, you've got to react. Center, you can't snap it, because as soon as you snap it, we're illegal with too many men in motion.
Yeah,
I don't understand how that play works.
I will tell you. You give me an explanation.
Yeah, please,
because I got no idea.
It was 3 guys in motion.
Yeah, the explanation that the officials gave Nick Saban was that they blew the play dead on the contact, on them entering the zone.
Okay, well,
and the movement.
I said that yesterday on social media, and you would have thought I said Nick Saban was shot dead on the field. People were like, "That is not what happened." It was I thought the same thing. Because sitting in my vantage point where you were in the press box, I could see an official coming in waving his hand. So Nick Saban was told that.
Yeah, that's what he was told, is that the play was blown dead. A procedure penalty play was stopped. Alabama in the neutral zone.
Because you absolutely – there's no other way you could rule it. Yeah. Because you had 3 guys in motion at the snap, which is illegal no matter what happens.
Yeah, unless we're in Canada. I would tell you this, but would they have made the same call if it was a free play – in that pass that they threw? If that had been a touchdown, would they have also said, no, the play's dead, there's no pass? Because they let the play out, it looked like, on basically a free play deep.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's confused everybody, because the snap went on and they went on and threw a pass that was incomplete, if I remember correctly. And if that had been a completed pass for a touchdown, would they have also said, no, we had blown the play dead? It was Alabama.
I don't remember how egregious the hold was, but if Alabama goes up 14-0 on the Kendrick Law,
it's going to be tough.
4th down play.
Yeah.
It just felt like that. Oh, wow. Because I had Auburn plus 13.5, and I was like, this thing's about to get nasty.
A lot of the worst of the weekend were the officiating, and it's coming from both sides. And I know as an Auburn fan, you're going to think Alabama got more calls. As an Alabama fan, you're going to think Auburn got more calls. But I think both of them agree it was bad on both sides. It was a horribly officiated game.
It was. And starting with that face mask that wasn't
I don't
called.
know how you missed that. I mean, I was 100 yards, more than 100 yards away from it, could see it clearly.
Yeah. And for those that have never been there, in Auburn's press box, it's at the end zone, and it's at the end zone where you can't see the big screen, right?
Right.
If it was in the other end zone, it wouldn't be bad seats because you still got that big screen at the other end of the stadium. So we are in the end zone without the benefit of the massive TV screen either, and still – when the flag was thrown, I looked at Brown and was like, face mask. That's going to give him an extra 15 yards.
I thought it was abundantly clear. Now, there was another flag. It was going to be offsetting because you had a block in the back as well.
Well, I didn't see that one. And when
I
they
didn't
made that
either, but
announcement,
they made that call.
I was like,
yeah.
And then they started marching. I was like, wow.
Real quick, John's asking, I think it's moving so fast, but according to what Little T responded to him, why Alabama couldn't get the touchdown off the muff punt. A muff punt is a dead ball at the spot it's recovered.
It's a college rules.
Yeah.
It's different in the NFL.
Cannot advance it. So Alabama got the recovery, but there is no advancement on a muff punt.
It's been the rule forever in college.
If he catches, he establishes that, and then fumbles, yes, absolutely.
That's right.
But the immediate catch and the ball going through, that is referred to as a muff. He never had possession.
It is not. The play is dead on the recovery at that point. Top of the hour show being brought to you by our friends at Harbin's Outdoors. We'll get more best and worst of the weekend, more reaction to the big games around the country coming up in our final hour.
Jeremy Harbin and his crew do such a good job. job. Speaking from experience, got that backyard done. Finished that up a few weeks ago. Fantastic. Hanging out there all weekend long. Harbin's Outdoors award-winning landscape company specializing in installing custom fiberglass pools, landscaping, hardscaping. Jeremy and his team are one-stop shop for all of your pool construction needs. Harbin's does it all, from the install to the lighting, final hardscapes around the pool, everything in between. It's beautiful work. You can find them on Instagram at Harbins_outdoors. See it for yourself, or call or text Jeremy directly. Make sure you tell him the next round sent you. 205-300-0718. It is Harbin's Outdoors.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
This hour brought to you by Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear, the perfect place for all your holiday shopping. We are easy to find just off of I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. Just look for the big red building.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our not-for-all-ages podcast like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hi, this is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. You're not average, and the New Balance Birmingham store has the shoes and apparel to perfectly match your unaverage self. If we were all shaped the same and had the same level of fitness, and if we all walked and ran exactly alike, well, then I guess an average shoe store selling average shoes would be just fine. But you deserve better. At the New Balance Birmingham store, our specialists will match you with a custom pair of New Balance shoes that fit you perfectly. Come see us at the New Balance Birmingham store. Your feet will thank you.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Are you ready to make this holiday season one to remember? Legacy Credit Union is here to make your dreams come true with their lifestyle loans. Whether you need a little extra cash for gifts or you want to take that unforgettable holiday vacation, Legacy has the right loan for you. With affordable monthly payments, flexible terms, and absolutely no collateral required, Legacy Credit Union is your trusted partner for your stress-free holiday season. Apply in minutes. Go to LegacyCreditUnion.com to get the financial support you need to enjoy the holidays to the fullest. Again, LegacyCreditUnion.com.
Some restrictions apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
One more hour of the show here. Overtime coming up a little bit later on with Nick Saban's news conference in Tuscaloosa. We've got coverage all week long leading into the SEC championship game one more time. It's Georgia and Alabama over in Atlanta with a 4-team field, so a lot on the line in the ATL coming up this weekend. We'll have coverage from Atlanta at the end of the week around the game. Looking forward to that over there. Show being brought to you today in part by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. We just heard from Greg from Pell City, called the show moments ago. You can actually now reverse it. You can call him and get him up on your roof right there. 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection, or look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. Storm Restoration Roofing is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. He's been locally owned for over 20 years. He and his wife own the company now. They run it. They got the best warranties in the business, and insurance companies trust them. 205-542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection. It's Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. JD is in Huntsville. Rockstar, let's punch him up. Hey, JD, how are you, buddy?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey.
Hey, one thing that I haven't heard anybody mention about the Iron Bowl and Nick Saban's success against Auburn is that this is the first time he's ever beaten them 4 years in a row.
Lance mentioned that it had not been done since the Bryant era going into the game, which stunned me until I stopped and did the math and realized it had not been done since Bear Bryant. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because they always have so much trouble, at Auburn. And so everybody thought, coming into the game, Alabama should be able to win by a few touchdowns. Looked like it would go that way early. I think you're right. When that touchdown got called back, that changed everything. And suddenly it was a game. But as far as Alabama and their chances to get into the playoff, I mean, obviously they have to win against Georgia. But who needs to lose the most? Is it Texas, Florida State? I think any combination of any of those teams losing and Alabama's in, no matter what.
No, I think losing the most needs to be Washington. If Washington wins in the final year of the Pac-12, if they beat Oregon twice, I think Washington is getting in. I think Washington would get in over Bama.
Yeah, I think Florida State is the team that needs to lose the most.
You think Florida State would get in before Washington?
No. Listen, SEC champion, Pac-12 champion, Big Ten champion, and so you block yourself. No, the SEC champion is the SEC, and the Big 12 champion.
All right, I'm saying that
so as long as you don't lose a conference with Oregon beating Washington. Oregon's still a viable contender there. If Florida State loses, it's an easy path for all conference champions are in.
Yeah, but I'm saying the only team, I think Alabama could ultimately get in over an undefeated Florida State. I think they could get in under a one-loss Texas.
Yeah, but he's talking about the easiest path is Florida State losing to Louisville, and then it's just all four conference champions are in. There's no debate at that point. Four conference champions are in.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest path. Florida State loses, and then you got four conference champions.
Yeah, I'm with Jim on that one. That's pretty simple.
Cut and dry.
Yeah.
You don't have to wish or anything.
The other thing to look at is, how the committee sets these things up with their last poll. Where are they going to put Alabama, I think, will determine what they really think.
Yep.
If they move Alabama ahead of anywhere they are now, they are setting it up where they believe that we've got to get them a little closer so this doesn't go from 8 to 4 or 3.
Yep. I said that before the break and was called a variety of different names in the chat room. I didn't say I thought it was going to happen. I was just saying if it could happen, if you're expecting Florida State to not be included because of the Jordan Travis injury, then this is the first poll that they will take the Jordan Travis injury into account. This is the first poll. They didn't do it last time because he played in that game and they won that game. Now he's out for the rest of the year. They know that. So this is the first time where they put Florida State is what they think of Florida State without Jordan Travis. And that was what I was trying to say when I was called delusional or Jimmy Bammer or all of that kind of stuff, Jimmy Drama, all of that. That's fine. I was just doing what you're saying. If you want to make it easier on yourself as a committee, this is the poll you set yourself up for.
And the other, all the other teams down the line, too, they look at that and say, okay, well, if we want this team to look better, we got to bring these other teams that they have beaten up in the rankings. We can't have moving a team up significantly, and the teams they've beaten aren't either not ranked or they're way down in the polls. So it wouldn't shock me if you don't see a lot of shuffling in this last poll. I think they're going to leave Alabama where they are. I think they just believe that they're going to lose to Georgia. But if they beat Georgia, Oh my goodness!
If they beat
I don't know
Georgia,
how
they're
you
in.
keep them out.
You don't.
They
Thank
got to
you.
be in.
Yep. Thank you,
Gotta be
JD.
in.
If they beat Georgia, they're in.
You see what I'm saying about Florida State?
I
though?
do.
The
Yeah.
easiest
It
path.
does make it easy.
The
I do.
easiest path. I mean, it works out.
I'm just saying that Alabama could. I see what you're saying.
If Florida State lost, man, it's so easy for the committee at that point, right?
But I still believe one loss Alabama will get in over an undefeated Florida State. I think they would get in over a one-loss Oregon. I think that they would get trumped by both Texas and Washington.
Yeah.
But can't you say the same thing you just said about Florida State losing and Texas is the same thing, right? I mean, that wipes out the Big 12.
Well, if Texas loses it
wipes out the Big 12.
Big 12.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
and it erases that one loss for Alabama.
That's right.
We don't have to worry about that.
So I think it is either Texas or Florida State. I mean, if you just want to pull for making it a clean path, I think that makes it a clean path, assuming Alabama wins.
Which is what the committee usually tries to do, right?
Right.
They try to make it the least resistance, right?
Yeah.
But again, if Washington loses, do you really believe a one-loss Oregon is going to be in front of Alabama?
Well, they've had them ahead of them this whole time.
Do I think undefeated Washington had a
one loss Oregon, one loss Alabama? I'm just saying this whole time, they've got Oregon ahead of them, and I assume tomorrow night Oregon will still be ahead of Alabama.
Yeah, I think Alabama's in front of either big Pac-12 team if it comes down to those.
Oh,
two.
not Washington.
Yeah.
There's no way they get in front of Washington.
I don't see how you say no way.
There is no
these
way.
Committees. Have you ever watched these things?
I have, but an undefeated Washington in the Pac-12's final year.
That is you keep saying that. I don't think that plays into it at all.
I think there's something to do with that.
With what? Who do you think the Pac-12's final year, that affects who?
Well, I mean, look, for the Pac-12 hasn't had anybody in it since 2016.
Exactly.
You're going to go undefeated.
Well, they've got no power.
That's right.
They've got no power.
I don't
because
think
they don't exist after
Okay,
Sunday.
I will put whatever amount of money with either one of you guys if it comes down to Washington, Bama. Washington undefeated gets in front.
I agree with you. Washington undefeated will be in there, but it has nothing to do with the Pac-12 going away. It's the fact that they're unbeaten in a Power 5 conference and have beaten a pretty good Oregon team twice at that point. But with the Pac-12 going away actually hurts them. That's advantage. That's advantage somebody else if Washington does lose in that debate on Oregon-Washington. They don't have anybody in that room.
I think people have been wanting to put a Pac-12 team in, and you just hadn't had an opportunity.
Who wants a Pac-12 team in?
I don't think anybody's ever wanted to put a Pac-12 team in. They've never done it.
They like the geographical balance. I really believe that.
I think it has shown that the ratings are what they are, regardless if it's all Southern teams.
And I think most of that committee thinks Alabama's a better team than Washington, probably.
Forshaw, I'll give you time to go.
And I agree with them.
To go find.
Washington ain't winning, so
we sent it out from the next round earlier. The BCS rankings as they would be today. It's also it's from BCS. The more you know, it's something like that. But we've sent it out. It's an easy find.
Yeah, it's easy find.
We'll do 4 downs first. It's brought to you by our great friends at Slice. Tell us about Slice, LT.
There are 4 great locations. The original in Lakeview, one in Vestavia, Montevallo, now Crestline Park. Local pizza, local ingredients. Get in today. Go see the Pajalia Brothers. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
For each program on the surface, better hire Elko to A&M or Levy to Mississippi State?
I mean, to me, LT, for where I'm swimming, who I could hire and all that, I like the Jeff Lebby hire because he's not Mike Leach, but he brings a unique style of offense in that I can take lesser players and be competitive with, much like Art did at Baylor originally on. He helped Lane do it at Ole Miss
do
for a
you
while.
feel like you're getting Lane Kiffin with a lesser Twitter profile?
Yeah, I'm getting.
I kind of feel the same way.
I'm getting low-key Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I'm getting Lane Kiffin without the Twitter profile.
Yeah.
It's how I feel on the surface of this hire with Lebby.
Yeah.
Some of that's the connection to Kiffin. Obviously, he coached with him, but I just feel like you've kind of got a similar coach now to what Ole Miss has. I don't think State fans would say that's what they were after, but I think it's what they got.
Now, I don't know if he can recruit, and there is a lot of questions about Mississippi State's NIL and what they can and cannot do. So Elko obviously will have more success, but I think Lebby was a really good hire for what Mississippi State could do.
Second down.
Better chance of getting left out. One loss, Oregon, Pac-12 champion, or undefeated Florida State if they struggle but still win the ACC this weekend.
I'm inclined to say Florida State would get left out of that scenario.
Okay, say it again for me.
Better chance getting left out. One loss, Oregon, Pac-12 champion, winning the game by double digits this week, or Florida State scraping
Okay,
by.
so here's why I say this. There is absolutely no support for Oregon being where they're ranked. None.
You mean factual, like who they beat?
Yeah, I'm like, there's
their only top 25 win, I believe, is Oregon State.
Yeah, so there's really no support for them being there. So that tells you the committee says we're heavy eye test on Oregon. We really, really like them.
Did they play Arizona? They didn't, did they?
I don't think
maybe early in the season. No, they did not. They played Colorado when Colorado was ranked. That was Colorado's first
So anyway, I
teeth kicking.
I just think that shows you there's just really no support to have Oregon as high as they've got them. So it tells you they really, really like Oregon and think they're a very good team.
Yeah.
So I would say in that scenario where they're both conference champions, they would put Oregon in.
By the eye test, Oregon is better than Florida State.
I think that's what they're saying.
That's why I'm fascinated about tomorrow night. What do they think of Florida State? They're going to tell us tomorrow
Well, they
night.
dropped them last week behind Washington.
They did, but
they drop them again?
We already said that was
I
going to
know.
happen because of Washington's resume and not Florida
right.
State's. Now this is the one they bring in, the Jordan Travis injury. Are they still 5? Are they up 1 to 4? Are they down behind Oregon? Are they behind Texas?
Are they behind Ohio State?
Yeah. Where do they put Ohio State? That'll be interesting.
Third down.
More impressive this past weekend, Bo Nix or Jaden Daniels?
So this past Saturday?
Yeah. See, I don't know how much you guys got to watch.
Not a ton.
Jaden?
Yeah.
Not a ton.
So C-Stu came over, big LSU guy, and we were watching, and there was an 11-minute drive from A&M. I thought A&M did a really good job of keeping him off the field, but when he was on the field, he was fantastic, and he is by far night and day better than Bo Nix.
Yeah, but I would tell you this is how it's going to play. Bo Nix wins Friday night, he'll win the Heisman.
I
He
agree.
loses Friday night, Jaden Daniels will win the Heisman.
I think Nix, it's the most pressure-packed spot he could be in. He's playing for both a playoff spot and the Heisman Trophy Friday night. And I agree with Jim. I think that's the way it will go down. Nix was playing against a better team. So I'd go Bo Nix.
Yeah, I still think Jaden Daniels is going to win this thing.
I think Jaden Daniels is the best player. Don't get me wrong.
I think, the problem is people are like, dude on a 3-loss team shouldn't win the Heisman.
Oh, I know. You get a lot of
that factors in.
But that has happened a lot.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Friday night, Oregon wins. Bo Nix wins the Heisman. Oregon loses. Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman. Michael Penix has been too erratic down the stretch.
Oh, yeah, he has been.
Fourth down.
Jimi Hendrix would have been 81 today. Better career. Jimi Hendrix or Jimmy Johnson?
The football coach or the NASCAR driver?
I'm going to go football coach.
Yeah. Okay. Well, NASCAR driver's pretty good.
Yeah, 7-time champion in NASCAR, but Jimmy Johnson, football coach, 3-time Super Bowl champion.
I think only 2.
Oh, he only got 2.
I think national champion in 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Hey, good broadcaster.
Yeah.
Really good broadcaster.
Jimi Hendrix only made it to 27, but that music hangs around.
It does.
I was watching the new Fargo, and they had a remix of Hey Joe.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jimmy Johnson though.
I'm going to go Jimi Hendrix.
I think I'll go Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, just because
that's a hard one.
Hey, Jimi Hendrix, Rocky, help us out. Considered one of the top 5 guitarists of all time.
Oh, it's the most original guitarist. He brought up a lot of technique and everything. The man had massive hands. He was amazing. His style, all that stuff. He brought all that stuff. Like, he was incredible.
And could do it completely strung out on heroin. I mean, Jimmy Johnson coaches a game after shooting up between his toes. I bet he makes some bad decisions.
Well, it'd be fun to watch, though.
Probably so. All right, that's our 4 downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice. Also by our friends at Bromberg's. It's the holiday season. Good place to swing by.
Yeah, since 1836, family owned and operated. Stop into one of those great locations of Bromberg's Jewelers. 2 locations, Mountain Brook and the Summit. Nothing like giving or getting that silver box this holiday season. If you're popping the question, you need to go see the Diamond Specialist. You can check out their inventory right now. Go to Brombergs.com.
Also by our friends at Champy's Chicken. They bring you the 11 o'clock hour every day on our show here. Champy's Chicken right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and the crew, so good at making it such an entertaining lunch and dinner, first off. And it's a destination location. If you want to just introduce people to good Southern cooking, Champy's Chicken is the place to go. Highway 119 in Alabaster, Southern Fried Chicken, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. It is champy'schicken.com. Forrester has the BCS rankings using all the computers and the 2 human polls, and this is the way it sits now after this weekend's games. All the way down at number 8 is still Alabama. Florida State, now remember, they don't factor in injuries or anything like this. This is why they didn't want to do the computer rankings, was because they didn't want to factor in eye test or any of that. They had enough of that with the human polls, which is 2/3 of the old BCS rankings. So it's Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Gap, Florida State, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama in your top 8 there.
Wow, man. I mean, you think about the chaos Bama would have to have if it was still the BCS.
Yeah. That being said, and this is in our tweet we sent out, every year, not this one, but the final BCS rankings and the final college football playoff rankings have had the same 4 teams every year of the college football playoffs, which just goes back to what I say all the time. Those people just go down there and eat and watch football, smoke cigars and drink bourbon, fly back home, and then get together and the last day say, okay, what does the BCS say? Okay, those are the 4. Maybe we can juggle them around for a better TV matchup because it's not always in the same order. But the top 4 teams have been the top 4 teams in every year by the BCS and by the college football playoff rankings. Those folks, Roy Kramer and the folks down at the SEC office that put the BCS together,
they knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing. It still stands the test of time.
Absolutely.
All right. We got trash coming up in the next segment. Show being brought to you in part today by our friends at Hemp Hill. They've been bringing you best and worst of the weekend, the entire show. They also bring you lanceslock.com.
Hey, this fall weather in full effect. Make sure your unit can keep up with it. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. And they can hook you up right now with a $69 fall tune-up. They are an independent trained dealer. The team can service all makes and models for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Call Hemp Hill Services. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Never miss anything Auburn. Watch Village Vice at Wardam Pods on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. The next round golf cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in Cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at HydroLive. Mention next round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. HydroLive's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Stop unwanted guests. Save $50 from our friends at Wayne's right now. Call 866-WAYNES1 this holiday season. Give the gift of peace and security to your home and family with a $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control services. Keep your celebrations joyful and free of unwanted critters this holiday and beyond. At Wayne's Pest Control, we don't just promise short-term fixes. We promise year-round protection for your home, keeping your family, children, and pets safe. Again, call 866-WAYNES1 today. That's 866-WAYNES1.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Harbin's Outdoors is an award-winning landscape company specializing in installing custom fiberglass pools, landscaping, and hardscaping. Jeremy and his team are a one-stop shop for your pool construction needs. Harbin's does it all, from the install to the final hardscapes around the pool and everything in between. It's beautiful work. You can find them on Instagram at Harbins_outdoors to see it for yourself, or call or text Jeremy directly, 205-300-0718. That's 205-300-0718. At Harbins, you and your home are the center of all that they do.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Back with you on the next round as we roll back in here. We're still discussing things. Boy, Vegas for Oregon to be almost double digits.
I was surprised.
But is that not just telling you that
they're going to beat the hell out of them?
They were the better team the first time.
They probably were. But, Michael Penix and this really veteran-laden team, they find ways to win games. They didn't look good again this past Saturday. I thought this number would be about 5 or 6. For it to be 9.5 is massive.
What we were talking about in the break is imagine being an Oregon fan today, knowing in the back of your mind you should have beaten Washington the first time. You can go beat them, and if Alabama beats Georgia, it doesn't mean anything. Assuming everybody else wins. If Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama jumps Oregon into this thing.
You could still be left out of this.
Yeah, if you're an Oregon fan, in the back of your mind, that's what you got to feel.
Now, if Texas loses, I think Oregon would get in over Florida State. I think Florida State's the one that's got. I know Forster's like undefeated Florida State. I think Florida State's got issues.
Well, I talked to the back row earlier, Lance. I had a chance to visit with them during a break earlier, and I believe Lunsford and Scott's argument is they don't want to set the precedent of leaving out an undefeated conference champion. As I reminded them, precedent does not matter anymore. This is the last time this committee will ever have to do this. An undefeated conference champion is locked into the next playoff. Locked in. Doesn't even think twice about it.
Which is why I've always screamed for automatic bids, because your conference champions are always protected.
Well,
no matter what the record is.
In this next playoff, that's going to be the case. So precedent doesn't really matter. This is the very last time a committee will ever select 4 teams for this thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be – now, you might lose a 1 seed in the future as an undefeated conference champion. That's possible. But you're still in the
you could
playoffs.
also lose a bye as well if you leave them out.
You could.
So that's you're still setting a precedent for the top 4. Top 4 do get an advantage in the new 12-team playoff. So Florida State would run the table and then have to go – they could
host a playoff
conference champions are the only ones that get buys.
Yeah.
But if they win the conference champion, there's 4 others they rank ahead of them.
There's 5 conferences. Yeah, there's 5 conferences.
No, there's only 4
Well,
Power
they will
Fives
be
next
moving
year.
forward. Yeah, that's true.
But if Florida State's that bad and you got a Cincinnati situation, they could still drop them out.
You're
rolling your eyes now, but
you put me on that committee.
Thing.
Florida State has got a lot of work to do. A lot of teams are going to have to lose in front of them. Ohio State would beat Florida State by 14 to 21 points.
Maverick Hammerfist is exactly right. This year, 4 teams, no chaos. A lot of good teams. Next year, 12 teams and chaos out the ass. There'll be 20 teams deserving. No unbeaten's, 22 lost teams next year.
No, but Maverick Hammerfist is right. We had no chaos in the regular season. We're going to have massive chaos on Sunday morning. Massive chaos.
Yeah, but not on the field. It's going to be chaos waiting for that. For them to say
the type of chaos the committee hates.
Yeah, exactly. Because they
got to do a job.
There's going to be 2 teams left out that could go on and win the national championship.
Which coaches will be the most pissed being left out? It should be Kirby Smart, right?
If he's not conference champion,
if he didn't win the game, yeah, he's going to be the best 1-loss team.
I can't imagine having a 14 playoff without Georgia.
I can't either. Our friends at Mortgage Right brings us trash. Did you do Michelson yet?
Nope.
Well, do Michelson first. Brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
Great deal going on right now from Michelson Laser Vision in the next round. Very simple. Call 205-969-8100, a number that I called more than 2 decades ago. Ask for Amy. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. If you get screened out, get the procedure done by the first of the year, you're going to save big. It's a one-time offer right now. Go to michelsonlaservision.com for more information.
Forrester gave me a shot sheet of 13 cuts. I've gotten to 3 today.
Oh, gosh.
Final segment. We're going to try to get as much of this sound as we can on the air and overtime, coming up with the Nick Saban news conference from Tuscaloosa. But right now, it is time for trash.
The moon is bigger than Earth. It surely has to be. Because when you're looking at the moon from Earth, it's huge. But, it's so far away from us.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Let the team at the experts, Mortgage Right, get your financial house in order with locations in Birmingham and Leeds. Mortgage Right offers a variety of loan products, fast and free pre-approvals, reliable hands assistance that will help you take advantage of all available home buying and refinance options. Take control today. Visit Mortgage Right at their locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply at mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. We start first in Bibb County, Georgia. Man is under arrest after deputies say he bit a store employee who tried to stop him from stealing meat at a grocery store. Well, you know it's gone bad if this happens.
Yeah, I mean, man just wanted some meat.
County Sheriff's Office posted this picture of the man being arrested on their Facebook page, saying the man went into the grocery store, sold about $400 worth of meat, tried hiding it all by stuffing the food in his clothes. This is very Animal House-like. Now, they were able to get away with it in Animal House.
They did. I don't think he took $400 worth. He's not a happy camper.
I mean, that's a lot.
He's tired.
No, $400 is just right now. That's just 12 steaks.
Depends on where you are. It doesn't say it. It says meat.
Yeah, 12 steaks.
As the man was leaving the store, an employee tried to stop him. That's when the deputies say the thief bit the employee. The employee was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. Investigators say the thief, who they have not identified, also was wanted on several warrants out of a neighboring county.
Are you guys updated on, this reminds me, are you guys updated on your tetanus shots?
Don't know last time I had one, but I guess I am.
Do you get tetanus after a human bite?
I don't think so.
Is it a Kardashian?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. The other night, I pushed down, I was at restaurant/bar, and I pushed down on this chair, and the nail went into my hand.
Ooh, oh, wow.
So I thought about that. I was like, I don't know the last time I got a tetanus.
A friend of mine, Johnny Orr, big Auburn fan, played golf with him yesterday.
He's got lockjaw.
They went on a golf trip without me earlier this year. I couldn't go.
Did you get invited?
I did, but I couldn't go. And they were down.
It was the Rollback Hoodie Club, wasn't it?
They were down on the course, and he had a ball that was resting between two roots. And usually we pull balls away from roots,
Right.
so you don't get any problems.
As one does.
Yeah. But he wanted to play that shot for some reason, they tell me, and he showed me yesterday the scar. He swung, I forget what iron it was, but it snapped and went into his leg. And it left a hole in his leg that has basically like a skin flap on top of it and no meat left inside the hole. And after the round, he finished the round. They actually did, what's the famous butt wipes? That's all they had in their bag.
Oh, dude wipes?
Dude wipes.
Yeah.
Shittens. Yeah.
There's one called Shittens.
They said this is going to sting,
Yeah.
but they stopped the bleeding, and he
With
finished,
dude wipes.
and finished the round. Went to the local emergency room afterwards, and they said there's nothing to stitch up. This little flap, I stitch it, it's going to fall off, and then you're going to have an exposed hole. And he was updated on his tetanus shots.
Do those golf clubs, man, once they break, I don't know if you guys were doing Dunaway and Brown on Old 690 when we were doing this, but me and Spisto put on the Ultimate Guys Golf Tournament.
Right.
And so we did have some adult entertainers at this golf tournament. We did it out at the old Tannehill. You guys played that track, right?
I played Tannehill before.
Well, one of the things, we took a bus out there. So we loaded up a bunch of dudes from Birmingham. They went over. They had some entertainment on the bus. Well, one of these dudes broke his golf club out on the course. And he decided, for whatever reason, to bring it in the bus as a prop.
Well, sword at that point.
The bus kind of took a wide turn, and a couple people fell on the bus. He fell into that. It impelled him. And so he tried to sue us for the tournament.
Wow.
We got that thrown out quick.
I was about to say, Tommy Spear.
Yeah, I got that thrown out good.
Yeah, but anyway, those things can impel you.
Yeah. And you know,
Just glad it didn't go in his jugular.
Yeah, the urban legend always on the golf course is what every golf course has. Oh, if somebody, got mad and, threw their club and it snapped back and hit him in the jugular and it bled out.
Yeah, I've heard that a million times.
Yeah.
Brown throws his far enough where it won't snap back, right?
Lance never once played golf with me, by the way.
I've played with golf. I've never seen you throw it. Dunaway's the one that says you throw it all the time.
Exactly. Do you know how he over-exaggerates stuff? I don't know why you've bought into this.
Gently tosses it towards his golf cart sometimes.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Chubba Purdy is not Brock Purdy, the younger brother.
He is not.
And I don't know why Nebraska wanted to throw the football late, take it to overtime. Iowa's kicker is struggling. Get that game to overtime. Terrible throw. What they're not doing in Lincoln is preparing for a bowl game, but what they are doing is they want you to help name their snowplow. The city of Lincoln has got some notable options here. First one is Cleopatra.
That's pretty good.
Oh, I like that.
That's creative. Cleopatra.
What about Austin Plowers?
I like that one too.
It'd be better if we were in Austin, but yes.
Yeah. Probably don't need a snowplow.
Another one, Anti-Snowshell.
Nah.
Thaw Patrol.
That's pretty good.
Scoop Dog.
I like that one too.
Snow Problem. And Truck Norris.
That's not bad either. Boy, they got some good options right there. That's going to be a tough vote.
I like Scoop Dog.
Yeah,
I do
my
too.
favorite one, Scoop Dog.
What do you do when you can't stand the people you rely on to make profit? For one company, artificial intelligence has proven to be the lucrative answer. As Adiana, I guess, 25-year-old woman from Barcelona is described by her creators as the first Spanish AI model, Euronews first reported. Okay.
So this person's not real?
It's interesting. Influencer agency The Clueless was only inspired to design her because they found real-life models and influencers too unreliable and too difficult to work with. I believe that.
Yeah.
So basically, we're just going to put humans out of work of modeling, and they can just make these AIs?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't do this.
But in truth, LT, are those models really there, or are they just airbrushed? I mean, we airbrush them so much anyway that it's not really the way they look anyway.
I don't
so
know.
Great point.
We're basically doing this already.
Yeah, that's a good
Now,
point.
I think there was a time where we knew some of the models. You'd be like, oh, there's Giselle there.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know any of these models now. Do you?
I do not. No,
So you
I
could throw an
couldn't
AI out there. Like, if you told me this girl's really from Barcelona, I'd be like, okay. She got a good look.
Got a little pink
100%,
hair.
yeah.
Yeah, I like how we're going to design the perfect Spanish model. Okay, make sure you give her pink
Now,
hair.
To your point, they used to do that fashion show on television back when people watched network TV a lot. And what was it, the Victoria's Secret?
Yeah.
And
The
they'd have
runway
those
model thing,
supermodels.
Bill? Yeah.
And they'd have a couple that you knew their names.
Yeah, I mean, Leo dated most of them.
Yeah.
Now, according to Ruben Cruz, the Clueless founder, he told Euronews, quote, "We did it so we could make a better living and not be dependent on other people who have egos or who just want a lot of money, make a lot of money by posing." Diana Nunez, co-founder of the Clueless, told Fortune in an email that the pair were mainly taken aback by the skyrocketing cost of those influencers. Went on to say that got us thinking, what if we just create our own influencer? And, well, the rest is history. We unintentionally created a monster, a beautiful one, though. Now, Adiana has 122,000 followers on Instagram, where her profile states she is a digital creator. An update on her story feed even shows a real-life breakfast bowl as her creators seek to give her the illusion of a real life. This is a problem for models all over the world.
It is.
Yeah, it is. You're right, because you can create the perfect model. As Dunaway said, though, they've been doing that already. Just a little paint on a human.
Yep. But you are paying somebody.
That's true.
We have got the sexiest bald man of 2023, according to a study.
Oh, Jim, here we go.
Prince William has been named the sexiest bald man alive,
He's not
according to a new
fully
study.
bald. Dunaway's fully bald.
Marketing agency Reboot conducted the study by looking at how many times the royal has been searched alongside the word shirtless or naked.
I'm not in the top 10.
You're not, Jim.
They also analyzed celebrities' heights, net worths, and how shiny their scalps are to come up with a total sexy score out of 10. William topped the list at a 9.88, closely followed by actors Vin Diesel, 8.81, Jason Statham, 8.51,
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson, 7.3, Jeff Bezos, 7.1, Michael Jordan had a 7.9, The Rock had a 6.9, Shamar Moore, 6'7", Shaquille O'Neal, 6'5", and Terry Crews is 6'3".
Bezos isn't on this thing if he's not rich.
I agree completely. His money.
Wait, you think Samuel Jackson is?
Prince William is?
For sure, I missed this list because I'm Florida State. I don't pass the eye test.
You got a broken heel.
I didn't pass the eye
You got
test.
a hurt quarterback, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And finally, not everyone will know how many languages C-3PO can speak or endlessly debate the merits of the Phantom Menace, but Star Wars is likely now part of your everyday conversation.
Nope.
Study suggests people now routinely use the words Yoda, Jedi, lightsaber, and talk about crossing to the dark side just like Darth Vader himself. Now, there's a German professor out there, Christina Sanchez Stockhammer.
I did use to the dark side on the drive back from Auburn. I can't remember how.
Of all those, to the dark side is the one I use most. I cannot tell you the last time I've said Yoda, Padawan, lightsaber, or Jedi.
I've never said Padawan.
Yeah, I don't even know what Padawan is. Is that a person?
She's a person. She's a queen.
Is she?
Yoda, I have used before. Lightsaber, yeah. Jedi, yeah.
She's the queen of what? Or did her and Luke Skywalker, were they?
She's the queen of the Avengers place where Aquaman lives.
So was Padawan, was that Natalie Portman?
That was Natalie Portman.
Okay.
She was Padawan?
I thought.
Turn Lunsford's mic on. My God.
That's Padme. Padawan is like the
Are they
the
sisters?
apprentice to, like Anakin was a Padawan to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, so it's a.
So if I was like to Tyler, like come with me, young Padawan, like I was training him.
Oh, okay.
Well, how many fingers and toes do a Padawan have?
It depends what species you are. You could be a human. You could be something else.
Does Tyler Childers have a song called Padawan?
I don't know anything about Tyler Childers.
Well, I've just never used any
Well, anyway,
of those.
this professor who wasted their money putting this thing together found that 7,752 mentions in language databases of British and U.S. text included books, magazine, and newspaper articles. Phrases like Jedi mind chick,
please
used to refer an act of manipulation, have crept into the language as young Padawan, as a way of addressing a young or naive person who has been given a valuable lesson or advice.
Hey, that picture right there, the back row, would you guys recreate that?
If we don't have
for
the
next
budget for that.
Halloween,
Yeah, absolutely.
Lunsford on the
Okay,
left,
only-
Forster in the right, far right, and put Tyler in the CP30.
CP30. The only one.
Chris Paul, right?
Hey, is that the real CP30 or is that a costume?
that looks like a real.
That is spot on.
And Mikaka. And this is what we'll do if Dunaway recreates this one.
Is that Jabba the Nut?
Yeah. Looks like
That's
Phyllis.
pretty good, though. I
Looks
like it.
Phyllis from The Office.
Yeah, the comforter is fantastic. Hey, go back to the R2-D2.
Poor Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. What is that?
It's Chewbacca.
No, I know that, and it's RDD2.
Yeah,
and then
RDD2.
But I was looking at that as PVC pipe or something like that. I was like, I was just trying to envision that
It's a
costume.
broom. It's a broom.
Oh, it is a broom. I think you're right, Jimmy.
Two brooms.
Lunsford, you'll love this. I went up to Nashville for Thanksgiving, and somebody's got an R2-D2 next to their bed.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Really?
A nerdo like you.
Is that
Yeah.
magnetism?
I do have a lightsaber next to my bed.
No, you don't.
I do.
You ever bust it out?
It's
a very personal question.
Well, the thing is, I had a golf club next to my bed. It's like somebody breaks in, but then I went and played golf, so I didn't have that anymore. So I just randomly found my lightsaber.
Dude, I would love you would make trash. We would have our own version of trash if you actually beat down a home invader with a lightsaber.
Yeah, or I'd be dead or something.
Have
But yeah,
you
sure.
have you ever purchased a gun?
Me?
Yeah.
No comment.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying. I mean, if somebody's going to break in, I think a gun's going to do better than a lightsaber. They got to be close for you to use a lightsaber.
You're such a creep. I just saw it.
That's Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every step of the process. Visit their locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply at mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
And by Champy's Chicken right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. He will welcome you in even if you love CP30 and RTD2, remote control stuff.
R2D2.
I said
Is it
R2D2?
R2D2?
Oh, my God.
Which one is it?
R2D2.
Yeah, R2D2.
R2D2.
Yeah, I think you said RDTD.
I thought I said R2D2.
I don't
Said
know.
all of them.
He likes everyone.
Except
right
the
there.
right one.
Champy's Chicken, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Back in a moment.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention The Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Life Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone. Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com. Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090. hemphillservices.com. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
It's time to start thinking about employee holiday gifts. Consider getting your hardworking guys a pair of Red Wing boots. Each day, your employees are on the job site helping your company succeed, so reward them with comfort at its best. The Red Wing mobile shoe truck can visit your shop and fit your employees with a great selection of boots. Or Red Wing gift cards can be purchased at your local Red Wing store, available in all amounts. Whichever program you choose, your employees will appreciate the quality, service, and selection from Red Wing shoes, and they'll also be thankful they have such a great boss. Reward your employees this holiday season with Red Wing shoes. What would happen if Santa came down your chimney and discovered fire damage in your home? What if he came down the chimney and discovered a wet floor? Santa's elves can't clean it up. You would have a lot of unhappy children Christmas morning. If that happens, contact DryTech Water Restoration immediately and make sure your children have a Merry Christmas. DryTech can clean up the mess and get in touch with your insurance company. Call DryTech 205-637-0143 and make sure your holidays are safe and happy. Happy holidays to all from DryTech Water Restoration.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
All right, Dr. B bringing us this final segment today, LT. Your hair's looking fabulous today.
Thank you,
slightly ahead of
Dunaway.
mine in my rankings.
Okay. Again, I started thinning out when we started doing this venture. I asked around. Dr. Beckenstein is the name everyone mentioned. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. Beckenstein today, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net. Again, I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That's all I'm doing. My hair is more than doubled in thickness. Make the phone call that I made. 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
A lot of people got hung up on this interaction in postgame with Hugh Freeze about the muffed punt. Listen in.
Hugh, the muff punt, correct me if I'm wrong, was that Coy back there or Keontae?
It was Keontae.
Was there a reason that Coy was back on that punt instead of Keontae?
Was it Coy? I thought it was Keontae. All right.
Coy.
I'll have to ask Tanner. Yeah, it would have to be Keontae. Must have taken himself out.
Yeah. Now, both of them, in college football, we have some weird things. They both have the same number, right? Both
yeah,
are
so
0.
it would be easy to look out there and not notice. And honestly, I don't know, does that make it to the head coach? Like if Keontae is hurt and he goes to a special teams coach and says, hey, I've got a pulled hammy, I'm headed to the 10 or whatever, does the special teams coach go to the head coach and say,
I would think it's pretty important.
I would.
Yeah,
in that situation,
I would too.
I would.
Well,
yeah.
but there's really no discussion. If he's hurt, you go to the guy that's second team.
You do leave it to the special teams coach to put their number 2 guy in.
Yeah.
Hey, look, without the bad footing, he probably fields it clean, and it's a different story.
Yeah, I know people were making a big deal about that, and Hugh kind of looked bad that he didn't know who was back there. I get that. But I'm just saying, in that situation, if your number 1 comes to the special teams coach and says, I think I just pulled a hammy, I can't go out there, it's obvious you go to the number 2. You have a depth chart for a reason, right?
Yeah.
You don't go to Hugh Freeze and say, hey, biggest game, biggest moment of the year, what do you think about putting a defensive lineman back there?
No,
I mean, you're going to go to your number 2.
If I'm Hugh, I would want to know so I could say, okay, so our number 1 guy's not back there. Let's tell him not to even field it unless he's 100% sure. Don't field it.
Yeah.
Just be back there. Don't field it. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just assume I've got a special teams coordinator and he's telling him all those things. Yeah. I didn't find it that crazy. It was just kind of bad that Hugh didn't know who was back there.
Yeah. Some other things from around the country. A reaction here. Cut 7 rock star J.J. McCarthy after the Michigan win over Ohio State. The path is there for this team. Now the betting favorite, right, to win the national championship.
They are.
I see that? I don't see how over Georgia.
Michigan is, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's J.J. McCarthy, their quarterback.
Should this result, or will it alter whatever negative perception there is about how you guys got here?
I can't answer that because everyone's, entitled to their own perception of how they view us, and, they're entitled to their own opinion. So the thing that I just think of is we only care about us, and we only care about what we're doing and how we feel. And, that fulfillment internally. That's all we care about. So everyone else could have their opinions, and we'll just keep doing us.
Since 2021, they're 26-1 in the Big Ten.
Well, look, and it has been them against the world for the last 2 months or so. The reason they are your favorite right now is they are going to cakewalk over Iowa, so they're going to be the 1 or 2 seed going in.
So Georgia, they're in. That's why.
That's why it is. I mean, Georgia still has work to do,
as does pretty much everybody else, really. Lance is right. You and I were in a restaurant in Auburn having lunch, and we were at the bar in the restaurant, and the game was on, and everyone at the bar let out an audible ooh or ah or some sort of audible sound when McCarthy made that touchdown pass.
Oh.
Still not 100% sure it was an actual touchdown. It went to review. Boy, the way that ball was bobbled around, he never had possession.
What were they saying on the broadcast? Because we couldn't hear
the broadcast.
We couldn't hear it. I was going to ask Klatt, but we went too deep with it.
So are you talking about the second touchdown?
The touchdown pass
the
where
one you're talking
split
about.
the defenders.
Yeah,
and the guy never has possession going into the end zone.
I don't know. Klatt thought it was an interception. Did you hear that?
I thought it was an interception.
Yeah, Klatt thought it was an interception.
Yeah, I thought it was an interception.
I thought it's an amazing throw, but on the receiver not catching it, I thought it was an interception.
Yeah, I thought it was a touchdown, but I had Michigan.
Yeah, I thought it was an interception.
But it doesn't erase the fact that it was an incredible throw. Like, when it happened live, that's when everybody made the sound, and then you see on replay, wait a minute, he doesn't even have the ball. Yeah, I thought it was an interception. Should have been overturned.
Yeah,
but
they stuck with the call on the
field.
field.
That was the only bad officiating. I thought Jermaine Burton was in bounds. Did you think he was in bounds on that review? I thought you could see green on the third down.
Oh, I did not.
In the Iron Bowl?
You thought he was out of bounds?
Yeah, I thought if they would have called it
in bounds, it stood.
In bounds, it stood. Yeah,
Okay.
it was one of those. Which
That's
there was
the
a
same.
couple of those last night in the Chargers game.
And see, I agree with you. I was arguing with Brown as we were making our way from the press box down. That review was going on, and we walked by a sequence of 2 big screens, and I kept pointing, Brownie's toes on the
And I'm
line.
like, no, it's not. There's green there.
Oh, yeah, our chief, our two Alabama fans watching it with me. Man, I see green right there. And I'm like, you can't even see the TV.
No, I can see. I can see green. I just think it's funny. People have to ignore stuff like that to do the old Alabama gets the calls argument. That's what I always laugh about. Oh, Alabama gets all the calls. That's a bang play right there. Alabama could have desperately used that first down. If Alabama gets all the calls and the SEC controls all these outcomes, that's overturned in a heartbeat.
The blatant no face mask call early on was going to set the taint of the officiating the rest of the game.
Yeah.
For one side or the other, because that was such a glaring mistake that if you're an Auburn fan, you're like, we're getting 0 calls. And then if you're an Alabama fan, you spent the rest of the game going, they are making up for that one blown call the rest of the game. They keep all the 50-50 calls are going Auburn's way now because they blew that
That's
call.
what fans do.
Yeah. Well, there are definitely makeup calls. Again, back to Jags-Texans yesterday. Texans picked off Trevor Lawrence. It was an obvious hold, and everybody, even Gene Steratore came on, and he was like, I can't believe the line judge has got one job, and it's to call that hold. And the very next possession, it was a questionable pass interference just to make it right up.
Yep. Now, again, I'll point out on the missed face mask, which was an awful miss. Your best case scenario for Auburn was offsetting penalties there because you got called for a block in the back. So the best case scenario was offsetting, which I guess would have been another kickoff, right? You got offsetting, you got to kick it again. So that was going to be your best case scenario for Auburn right there.
Rockstar cut number 11, Bo Nix. He gets asked about the potential of being the final Pac-12 champion. Here is right now your Heisman leader.
How does it feel to be the last possible Pac-10 champion quarterback?
Obviously really good, and that started off as a goal of ours, and now we have a chance to go play for it against a really good team. And I know they're sitting there saying the same thing, so it's going to be a battle, and we're going to have to go out there and really fight for this one and really execute at a high level and limit their explosive plays and limit their plays on defense. And to give ourselves a chance, we're going to have to play a complete game again. So that's going to start in practice this week. But it'll mean a lot, to say that you're the last. But there's been so many come before you, and then life will go on after you. So it's just a dent in time. And for now, all we got is tomorrow, and so we're going to go out there and make sure that we put all we got on the field for Friday.
He started writing a Beatles song at the end. It's a dent in time. All we have is tomorrow.
Minus 150 right now, Bo. Jaden Daniels plus 120.
I agree 100% with Dunaway. If they win this game Friday night, he wins the Heisman, and they've got a shot, depending on what happens in Bama, Georgia, of going to the playoffs. If they lose this game, they don't go to the playoffs, and I think Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman.
This is such a quarterback-friendly system that they've got. I'm trying not to take anything away. I think Bo's had a tremendous year.
The dude, though, let's see, I understand what you're saying on the short passes, and he's going to set the completion record in the NCAA football, which is still impressive. But he adjusts to the plays at the line of scrimmage. He is coaching the team, basically, from the line of scrimmage. He's getting them into those situations to make the easy passes.
Bo left the best defensive conference in college football and headed out to play in the Pac-12.
Earlier you said we're begging to get a Pac-12 team in. Don't trash the play out in the Pac-12 then.
No, I'm not. That has nothing to do with this. And when Jaden Daniels came into this league, I was like, this kid's going to get eaten up.
Yeah, but so how are you about to make that argument? Because Jaden Daniels left that conference and he's torched the SEC.
That's what I'm saying, though. I mean, like, he came to the best conference.
Bo you're saying it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Bo couldn't get it done in the SEC. Jaden Daniels, and Jaden's numbers.
Jaden Daniels couldn't get it done in the Pac-12.
Yeah, but he was younger, right?
Well, I know. I'm just saying.
And it was a crap program.
Bo was younger in the SEC.
And Bo is older now, and he's got better talent around him. Bo would have, I guess he would have graduated
this
now.
Oregon team.
Bo would be at Auburn if Auburn had better players while Bo was there. He left because the coaching, and then he got to better players around him. Bo's playing better with better players.
Jaden's numbers are better than Johnny Manziel's. They're better than, through 11 games going into Saturday, his numbers were better than Joe Burrow's.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I would say this.
He is by far the best player in college football.
And I would vote him for the Heisman today. I would go ahead and turn my vote in right now. In fact, I wouldn't even have to see Nick make another play. That said, I know he plays in a quarterback-friendly system, but you got to admit, since the Bama game, basically LSU's coaches have said we're doing whatever we can to win him the Heisman. I mean, they have basically allowed him just to run numbers up to win the Heisman.
Oh, I know.
Almost 100 more passing yards for Bo Nix, by the way.
1,000 more freaking rush yards for Jaden Daniels.
He runs up and down the field.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Double the interceptions from Jaden Daniels, though.
What, 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah. Again, Bo doesn't throw it down the field.
Yeah, because he's checking them into the right play.
All right,
coach on the field.
Look, I really don't care. I know
don't either.
that Jaden Daniels is the better player.
Again, I would vote for Jaden Daniels. Like I said today, I wouldn't even need to see another game. I'm just saying what Bo's done is pretty incredible. You got him second, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He'd be second.
Okay, one more thing before.
And then I don't even know who else you put in there.
One more thing before we get out of here, or maybe a couple more things. Just quick reaction.
Might go Carson back.
Orange Bowl, likely destination for Ohio State. Likely opponent, Louisville.
Yuck.
Could be Florida State if they're left out.
God, are you kidding me? Ohio State, Louisville?
Yeah, or Ohio State.
If
Florida
Ohio
State.
State's at all engaged, that will be a bloodbath.
Missouri's in a New Year's Six Bowl. I mentioned that one. NC State finishes the year 9-3. That was my big takeaway of the weekend, that Dave Doran got that team 9-3, even by circling back around to Bronco.
Yeah, I mean, multiple quarterbacks.
Not Bronco, but Brennan.
Yeah, Brennan Armstrong. Yeah. They were dead to rights, and all they did was get as hot as any team in the ACC to end the season. So Dave Doran did a really, really good job getting them to 9 wins, getting them ranked now.
Yeah, has now beaten Mac 3 straight years in that rivalry game. 3 straight years, NC State over North Carolina.
Yeah, Mac, and it was a complete. Do you remember how last year's ended?
Same way this year.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'll say this about Mac.
It fell apart last year at the end. He's lost 5 straight now.
Yeah, but he lost. I think they gave up 14 points in like 2 minutes last year to lose.
Yeah, and the way North Carolina ended, I would have Jaden Daniels as my number 2 quarterback coming out in the draft.
Ahead of Drake May.
In front of Drake May?
Mm-hmm. It happened. That's why I said that about Drake May last year. That's what got me on the Drake May, not a top 5 pick, was the way they finished the season last year, and they've done it again this year. West Virginia ends up with 8 wins. And Iowa State rallied around to beat Key State in the snow, and Matt Campbell got them to 7 wins.
Yeah, fun snow game.
Yeah, Snowmageddon.
And that kid's still running. I think he had 300 yards.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Jack State's going bowling. Did you mention that?
Is that official?
Yeah, not enough 6-6 teams. I think the South Carolina loss was what put it over the top. Yeah.
Congratulations, Gamecocks.
I mean, they'll have to be picked. I guess somebody could not pick them, but yeah, they're eligible to go bowling.
That's fantastic. All right, that's our show today. Overtime is coming up. Nick Saban's news conference is up next. We appreciate you being with us. Remember, like and subscribe, thumbs up. We're getting ready for the SEC Championship as Nick Saban gets ready to talk to us about the Georgia Bulldogs. That is next right here on the next round, overtime. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. Overtime now with our friends at Roback, roback.com/TNR20. Tell us how that works, Brownie.
Well, you use code TNR20 and you get a 20% discount at roback.com off your initial order there. Their stuff is incredible. Dunaway loves those hoodies. He's going to buy every single one of them now. Every one of them they got. Go buy all those hoodies. Softest you'll find. Their quarter zips are incredible. Their golf shirts are incredible. They've sent us their pants, which are incredible. Everything's so good at Roback. Roback.com. Code is TNR20 for 20% off your initial order there.
That's right. Nick Saban will get up there in a moment. A couple of things he did mention on yesterday was that Jace McClellan, questionable. He said the next 48 hours tell a lot about Jace's availability against Georgia. Kirby Smart had some interesting comments. Brock Bowers didn't play, soreness in his right knee, the surgically repaired right knee. Nothing to do with the tightrope surgery that cost him a few games, but we all know that was precautionary. Tate Rutledge, the guard, expected to be back for this game. We'll see about Ladd McConkey and Ra Thomas for the Georgia Bulldogs. So they are close to 100%. Alabama close to 100% without Jace McClellan, though, in that one.
I think Ladd McConkey is interesting. When they've had McConkey and Bowers in their offense, you can tell a significant difference. And I think that's only been, if memory serves, Jim, I think it's only 2 games where you've had both those guys full steam in an offense. Might be even 1. But you can tell a bit of a difference there, and they've played the most of the season without the use of both those guys at the same time.
Now, I said this last week when Auburn lost to New Mexico State. I said that I did not think that performance by Auburn at all would be reflective in what they would do against Alabama, and I was right about that. I will also tell you I don't think Alabama's performance at Jordan-Hare Stadium will in any way reflect what Alabama will produce Saturday in Atlanta. I think a better Alabama team will show up than what we saw at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's a more friendly atmosphere, first off.
No doubt.
They're playing a better opponent, but it's a more friendly, more comfortable atmosphere for Alabama. And they go in as the hunter. And I think this team has shown that they're very comfortable in that role.
Well, I would just say, how long has the SEC been playing football?
A long time.
Has anybody ever won 30 conference games in a row?
Nobody's ever won 29 games in a row.
Why do you think that might be?
It's hard to do.
Yeah, it's really hard to do, isn't it? And credit to Georgia for doing it at 29.
Right.
But
Georgia's done that now, yeah.
Yeah, the longer it goes, though, I mean, there's a reason. There have been incredibly good teams in the history of this conference, and nobody has ever done it. And history is history for a reason. You've got a good sample size, and that is just something. I'm not saying it's weighing on Georgia. I'm just saying the numbers catch up with you eventually. We don't have 100, 125 years of data for no reason. There's a reason that number is there, and to win 29 is incredible. But I mean, the loss is coming at some point, and if you're Alabama, you obviously hope it's Saturday, and they got a great chance to do it Saturday.
There is the betting spread out there are 5, 5.5 in some places. Georgia's the favorites, and I think LT was hinting that it'll get up into the 6 range, where it was the last time Georgia lost a football game, which was to Alabama in the SEC championship back there in 2021 after Alabama came off a tough win at Jordan-Hare Stadium. So maybe for Alabama fans, they're hoping for history to repeat itself a lot. Jalen Milroe obviously will be a focal point for the Georgia defense. 259 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns, and 107 yards rushing against Auburn. For Alabama this week, I would imagine Kevin Steele is going to look at what Auburn did to them running the football and the blocking schemes that they threw out there and try to prepare a little bit more for those in case Georgia tries to do a little bit of that, because the situational blocking that they were using to sort of move the big men and sort of use their size against them, maybe something Georgia tries to do a little bit of this week too.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alabama's defense has been very, very dependable throughout the entire season. It has seemed to be consistent, very rarely even playing really good offenses like LSU. There were times it looked a little bit overwhelmed, but that defense locked down in the second half against LSU. They only scored once. You'll have to do that against Georgia again.
Here's Nick Saban. Let's listen in.
So when I went to church yesterday, the first thing I said was, thank God what could have happened didn't happen. So, we did, I think it's just reviewing this game, a little bit of a reality check. One of the things that we wanted to do in the game was channel our passion and our energy into positive execution on the field. And I think when we did that, we played really, really well. But there were some times where we didn't, and it was very costly in terms of some of the errors that we made, whether they were penalties or mistakes on defense or whatever it might be. So the reality check part comes from taking the good things and building on them and getting some of these other things corrected. Having the opportunity to play in the SEC championship game is, I'm very, very proud of this team for the progress that they've made, the work that they've done. To give themselves an opportunity to play in the SEC championship game. This is one of the most competitive, best venues, in college football, and we're obviously playing, one of the best teams in college football, if not the best team in college football. Kirby's done a fantastic job there. I mean, I don't think people realize, how hard it is to win 29 games in a row, or even be 12-0 in a season. So. They got really good players. They're really well coached. They're one of the most prolific offensive teams in the country in terms of yards, points, ability to run, ability to pass. They've got good players at every position. Defensively, they're the #1 team in the SEC. Got good players, well coached, do a really, really good job. And they also do a great job on special teams. So they've got good specialists, and this is a team that doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. That's why they are who they are and what they are. And it's going to be really important for us to do, a great job of executing and do what we do the best that we can do it.
Yeah, 2 years ago, similar circumstance, emotional win over Auburn, then you're playing the SEC championship game against Georgia. What do you think these guys can learn from the way that team prepared and handled their business in between the Iron Bowl and the SEC championship?
I don't really know. I think this is about this team, how they prepare for this game. Not very many guys on this team was on that team. Some of the guys were on that team, understood, what championship preparation is really all about. And I think their leadership and our message is going to be that's exactly what we need in this game. But it's hard to draw comparisons from people who didn't have that experience, sometimes. So, hopefully some of the older guys on the team will be able to give us the leadership that we need to be able to get that message across.
Charlie? Yeah, Coach, when you look back at Jermaine Burton, what maybe stood out about him when he entered the transfer portal, and maybe how has he grown and matured since then?
Yeah, well, Jermaine has done a really good job for us, and, we continue to harp on, consistency and performance, all the time. He's been very productive for us, and, we played against him, and, we thought he was a good player when we played against him, so that was probably the reason for our interest in him to start with. And, he hasn't disappointed us with his performance on the field. And, we continue to work on his ability to stay focused on, do your job well, create value every play in terms of what you do, and be consistent in your performance. And he's certainly made strides in that direction.
Caden Proctor got named co-SEC Freshman of the Week. How have you seen him most improved this season?
Yeah, well, he's, we talked about him, on several occasions about developing confidence, I think, in what he's supposed to do, how he's supposed to do it, why it's important to do it that way. The improved communication in the offensive line, I think, has contributed to that development of confidence. And I think that's the one word that, when you have success, which he has had more success in recent games, that really helps build confidence and an expectation that you can do things at a high level, and that's how you prepare and that's how you go play.
What are the challenges of preparing for a guy like Brock Bowers, and then do you just kind of, Kirby said yesterday, status is kind of day-to-day, do you just prepare as if he's going to play?
I'm sorry?
Brock Bowers for Georgia.
Yeah. Well, You know, Georgia's got a really, really good offensive team. And the quarterback obviously does a fantastic job of whether they're running the ball, carrying out fakes, play action passes, drop back passes. I mean, he is very efficient and effective in everything that he does. He's very accurate with the ball. He's smart, throws at the right place. So he does a great job of implementation of exactly what they want to do. And they have a really, really good scheme. And obviously, Brock Bowers is a really, really good player, probably the best player at his position in the country. And, I'm assuming that he will play in the game. I don't know any different than that. And he's a mismatch issue, but he's also a good blocker and a really good competitor. So it's not only his pass catching ability, it's his ability to do all the things that really good football players do, and he does them at a high level.
Coach, everyone knows about the Iron Bowl rivalry, but this Georgia-Alabama rivalry is turning into something every year bigger and bigger. How healthy is that for the game of football? And obviously the Kirby and your connection adds to that as well.
Well, I think that, all these sort of, you call them rivalry games, some of them are instilled in the culture, like the Auburn game, the Iron Bowl. That's part of the culture. People have been watching that game for how many years? And it's always going to be that. And then, some of these other sort of rivalry games, as you call them, aren't traditional rivalries, but because there's two really good teams playing, and it's been historically that way for a while, they become those kind of games. And, that's kind of what this has become. So, you don't get an opportunity to play against a team who's won, 29 straight games very often, which speaks to their quality, but it also speaks to the challenge and the opportunity that, our team has in preparing for a team like this.
Question about Georgia's passing game. So Ladd McConkey, of course, missed September with a back injury. Took him a couple weeks after that, I think, before he was in peak form. And that's right when they lost Bowers to the ankle injury. So they've only had those guys healthy together for like 2-3 games. How much more dynamic is Georgia with both of those guys healthy?
Well, both those guys are really good players, so obviously they're very dynamic. But I will say this, that the players who have played for those guys, because, and this speaks to the depth of, Georgia's team, Four is a really good tight end and has done a really, really good job. 86.5, the other receivers that have played, they've always done, they've done a really good job, and they're really, really good players. So those two guys are fantastic players in their own right, and they're very productive. But the players who have stepped up and taken their place have done a really, really good job as well.
You mentioned Caden earlier, but the whole offensive line's kind of improved. No pre-snap penalties over there. 1 sack allowed. How good of a job has Eric Wolford done, kind of turning around that unit and
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job, and I think the players have responded well to him. And our technique has gotten better. Our communication has gotten better. The continuity of playing together has gotten better, and I think the results that we're getting is, showing that. But I also think this is probably the best front they're going to go against all year to this point. So it'll be interesting to see, how that matchup sort of transpires.
Hey, Nick, Jalen Milroe told us post-game that he thought his emotions sometimes got the better of him, but at times it feels like that emotion fuels his play. How difficult is it sometimes to walk that tightrope of playing with emotion, but making sure as the quarterback that you're dialed in and making the proper decisions?
Well, I just think that for any player, probably most importantly at quarterback, because you have the ball every down to do something with, whether it's to hand it to somebody, throw it to somebody, run it yourself, whatever. It is what I mentioned earlier about having passion to play and not getting overly emotional where you don't make good decisions and choices. whether it's because you put pressure on yourself or you're trying to make plays or whatever. Everybody wants to make plays, but everybody's got to trust and believe in, if I do exactly what I'm supposed to do on this play, that's going to give the best opportunity for this play to be successful and for us to make plays within the system and the scheme. And for the most part, we've been doing a great job of that. So, but it kind of goes back to what I said earlier, and this not just the quarterback, but we sort of, when we got a little emotional in the game, whether it led to penalties or poor choices and decisions in some cases, that's not really putting your passion into what you have to do on the field to execute. And I think sometimes when you get outcome oriented, which, sometimes when we want to win a game really, really bad, you get outcome oriented. That sort of leads to those kind of emotional sort of surges that can create some issues as a competitor.
What has impressed you the most about Jalen Milroe's growth this season?
Well, obviously Jalen has played really, really well for us. He's got a lot of confidence. I think he's got a really good understanding of what his role, what his job is, how he's been able to execute it on a consistent basis, whether it's as a passer or as a runner, whether it's scrambling or design run. He's done a really, really good job, I think, of playing one play at a time and trying to execute that play the way it's designed so that he distributes the ball in a very efficient, effective manner. And I think that's how his growth, has sort of occurred and, transformed him as a player and really transformed our offense as well because of his growth and execution. All right, thank you.
All right, that's the Nick Saban news conference in overtime over there today in Tuscaloosa. Our Emily Grace McWhorter is on campus as well. She'll have extra coverage, bonus coverage from the players and other stuff throughout the week on our platforms and later today as well on all of our video platforms out there with our overtime. Nothing really newsworthy popping out of that news conference.
Yeah, I think the most newsworthy thing this week in Tuscaloosa is obviously the healing of Jace McClellan. You'd like him to be as close to 100% as it could be, obviously, so that your running back core is as close to 100% as you could be. But again, if you look back at Brian Robinson, people didn't even think he was going to play in that game, and he was darn near the MVP of that game.
And that running back room was very different back then.
No doubt.
Brian
He was all you
Robinson,
had just about.
You had to put him out there. You had to prop him up next to the jukebox and hope we could sing.
Yes.
It was not the case there this time around because you have some really big freshmen you're trying to get more snaps to and maybe a little bit more Jam Miller in this contest behind Roy Dale if Jace cannot go. All right, that's our overtime. We're back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget, I got a little Monday Night Football show. I set those alerts. We'll squeeze that in tonight before Monday Night Football kicks off. Back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. You guys have a great day, and thanks for being part of the Next Round family.